into Comics.
More entertainment, more news.
Foodies watching movies.
Adulting 80s.
Podcastrophe, the voice of survival.
Kids for Sale. Gallif Radio.
Brews with Dudes. Journey into wrestling. Journey into Comics Network. JourneyIntoComics.com.
The following.
Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics.
It's a journey into comics.
Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics Network.
Production.
Heritage.
Warning, Podcastrophe imminent. This is Podcastrophe with Dick and Tyler. And Matt. Coming at you with a fistful of heritage on a podcast where anything goes and there are no safe spaces. This is Podcastrophe.
So, change subjects just a little bit. There's a really cool, similar anime style.
Does this light work yet? Fuck no, it don't.
Good job, Blaine. Way to be a homeowner. You fuck. Sorry.
Pokemon Origins. Has anybody seen that?
Oh yeah.
No.
I've seen the movie.
Well, that's what it's basically like a mini series, but they combined them into like a full movie. It's like an hour and a half.
Okay.
And what it does is it takes literally the first like original games, so like red and blue versions,
Sure.
and turns it into a movie.
Okay.
And the anime style is similar to like that of like Dragon Ball Super,
Okay.
and like the battles in it are amazing.
Yeah.
Especially the very end battle with Red versus Blue for the championship,
Wicked.
because it comes down to Blastoise and Charizard, and that shit is dope.
Is this like a YouTube created thing?
No, it's literally on like Hulu.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
Really?
need to watch that.
I've got fucking
I watched.
Hulu, man.
There was another one that came out like that.
It was actually on Twitch the other day, because Twitch is doing a Pokemon marathon, and it was on. But yeah,
the original Pokemon Origins thing that came out was like a very condensed one, and it was like maybe 20 minutes long, but it told like the whole story of Red and Blue leading up to Mewtwo, like and with Mewtwo.
Blue and green and
well, that
Japan,
might be just the
motherfuckers.
last part.
No, it was from the start to the beginning.
Oh.
Or to the end. Start to
Well,
the beginning.
They do the battle with Mewtwo also.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
amazing. This is how they actually introduced Mega Evolution.
Yes.
From the start to the start, as Dick was saying.
Yeah.
So, Blaine, you should pull that battle up between Red versus Blue on Pokemon Origins. on
Yeah, I'm gonna
YouTube.
grab a drink of root beer over here off camera. but
I'm
I'll be
not
right
gonna
here.
pull that up because
Should.
we might get flagged for copyright
That
material.
is true. Pokemon is very notorious for that.
Nintendo. Nintendo in general.
Yes.
Not fucking with that.
But it's amazing. I would suggest watching it if you like any kind of anime style. Just like I would suggest watching One Punch Man, because it's my favorite anime ever.
Blaine's learning that when you have toddlers in your living space, you will find random Nerf bullets everywhere.
Oh, I knew that before because I have little brothers.
Yeah, but it's bad, isn't it? Right?
Yeah,
Blaine's
it's
like,
terrible.
I've had Nerf guns and
So-
I can't find my bullets ever.
So recently, I started watching a new anime, which I've read a little bit of the manga in the past before it went to white novels. But Goblin Slayer.
Ooh, that's on Hulu right now.
I haven't heard of
Is it on Hulu?
Yeah, the series is on Hulu.
I've been watching it on Funimation now because a buddy of mine has their premium service or whatever. So I log into his shit and then I watch it.
Score to you.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But it's very, very, very gritty and very visceral. The first episode, you watch goblins fucking rape people.
Whoa.
So it kind of took the anime world by storm, and a storm of controversy and triggering, because most people aren't willing to sit through that kind of material. I mean, there's fans of series like Berserk and Goblin Slayer specifically that were really amped up for it. Not because they get to watch fucking young girls get raped, but because it's a fantasy. Imagine D&D, but very cruel and like true to life.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, D&D.
Game of Thrones, D&D, very very well put there.
Game
but
of
anime.
D&D.
So
Game of
I
Games.
urge any of you, if you're anime fans, check out Goblin Slayer. You will be thoroughly impressed with the storytelling. Some of the voice acting is a little bit blasé, just because the first couple episodes of the first season I watched, which they're in the first season right now. I'm just watching them as they air. The Japanese voice actor for the character Goblin Slayer is spot on. Like, no one is going to do that character justice besides that guy. And then the English voice actor, I can't remember who they picked. I looked it up a couple weeks
Probably
ago.
fucking Benedict Cumberbatch.
It's not Benedict Cumbersnatch Pickle. But it's not as...
Been a quick lick your snatch.
It's not as...
Benadryl Cumbersnatch.
It's not as... I always throw pickle in at the end, just to be the weird
Benadryl.
fucking guy.
Yeah.
Benadryl pickle smash.
But it's
could be
really
pickle
good.
stash.
So if you guys want like quick,
pickles.
less than 30-minute long, typical anime episode run lengths, check out Goblin Slayer for sure. It's really good.
If it was pickle,
Sweet.
wouldn't he be
So
Benedict?
to kind
Ooh,
of
Benadryl pickles.
Yeah, Benadryl.
stash.
Pickle
ooh,
stash.
Ben and Jerry pickle dicks.
I like how you immediately twisted it. Didn't even
But
think.
Ben and Jerry pickle dicks.
We're on the topic of fantasies, which means I think we should segue to another fantasy that is coming out soon. And I think that's the Captain Marvel 2.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
Before we get to
Marvel
that real
trailer.
quick,
Oh.
since I've got four of my dudes
Yeah.
that I value their opinions in the room.
Sure.
Blaine and I talked a little bit about it when the information first was kind of
Is she hot?
advertised.
Okay.
How do we all feel about James Gunn and Suicide Squad 2? Because
I
I've talked about it with Blaine. I've talked about it with you a little bit off camera. I've never talked about it with Matt, and I don't really want to get sucked into a DC debate like Matt and I always do. But I am really interested to see what you and Matt feel, or how you and Matt feel about James Gunn and Suicide Squad 2.
You first.
I have 3 bullet points.
Okay.
1, it's a major win for DC.
Okay.
Score DC. 2, the most important part, James Gunn is going to get the best roster you can imagine
Okay.
for the Suicide Squad. No question. You're
So
probably going to have Bane. You might have other major characters. Who knows? Who knows
Okay.
where he can play?
So you think he's going to shake the roster up a little bit?
I absolutely. There's no question. Because there's no need to keep the roster as
I'm
it is.
hoping he shrinks the roster.
Also true. It does need a little bit of a minimization. I think that they good intentions with that first movie, but I don't think it comes through as solid.
It's mediocre at best, but I enjoyed it.
I think it had so many rewrites and a lot of meddling that eventually they were just like, just push whatever the fuck you can.
Right.
Out.
Yeah, we're gonna get something out. I think the third bullet point, this is the most important, is this is good foundation for their future.
Okay.
If he does this right, and I don't think that's a big if. I think James Gunn gets a hold of anything, he does it right. He knows how to direct movies, and I still stand by the fact Marvel fucked up.
Yep.
I agree with
Tried. Well, let me rephrase that. Disney fucked up.
Yes.
This is a Disney decision over a Marvel decision. I think that needs to be stated. So I think that if James Gunn gets through, they get through funding and everything good, because I don't know if you guys heard, but Man of Steel 2 and the Flash movie have both lost steam at Warner Brothers. They don't want
Yes.
to do them now.
Yeah.
That could be Suicide Squad 2 if they're not careful. Time is their enemy right now. Really, you're going to look at what happens with Aquaman here in a few short
I
weeks
think
to really
the
decide.
next 2 movies, Aquaman and Shazam,
Shazam is a big
are
one
going to
too.
be playing a
Well,
major role.
as
in
of
what
what I read a couple days ago, Aquaman is the most successful and best DC movie thus far in the box office.
I think it looks amazing.
Someone
Yeah.
said in their review, someone who I value very much said in their review that they thought this was the best DC movie since The Dark Knight. I hold some weight to that because I fucking
I remember reading that.
loved The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight is not just a good superhero movie, though. The Dark
Correct.
Knight is just a good movie.
Correct.
Because I don't consider a Batman movie.
It plays very little Batman in
Yeah.
the story. It's a Joker movie.
Well, I don't even consider it really that.
Okay.
Because
Matt, you
we
and I
discussed this.
You and I went and saw that movie 3 times
Yeah.
opening weekend.
Yeah, that's true.
I saw it 18 times while it was in theaters all time. I was
You're like one of those.
obsessed.
Hey, do you remember Titanic? You remember how many times people would go to
You're
see
the
the
reason
Titanic?
why
I was
I was
Titanic.
watching the news and there was like Inside Edition, and they're like, yeah, this is our 97th time. and they're just waiting in line.
It's like that dude that's seen Infinity War every day once since it's come out, and he got to go to the fucking set for Avengers 4
Yeah.
because of that. Fuck
Yeah.
you, guy! I've seen it that many times too.
I was that guy for Avatar.
Oh, Avatar's weird because
Speaking-
I'll say this again. Avatar's one of those weird movies to me where it did well in the box office. Sure, it's really memorable because it was the first 3D movie I ever saw. Okay.
Well,
I
not
have
just 3D movie, but it was actually shot in 3D.
Shot-
You and I have talked about this on the show in the past.
Correct.
Can I just tell a story about Avatar?
Yes.
So
I just don't know what the fuck the movie was about. I still to this
It's
day
Dances
have
with
no
the Wolves.
idea.
It's Dances with
It's
It's
Wolves. man.
Pocahontas.
Well, I think it's a little more Dances with Wolves.
It's
than
Dances with Pocahontas.
Thank you.
Dancing with Pocahontas.
So it's
Benedict
Christmas Day.
Cumberbatch.
It's Christmas Day.
Sure.
My family had just kind of started like not doing things on Christmas Day. It was
Okay.
all Christmas Eve, so I had nothing to do. I had nothing to fucking do. And you'll find a lot of my stories with Matt start like this. Matt, I'm bored.
Do you want to do something?
No, and originally it was like, all right, I'll be over. We're gonna play some Halo.
Sweet. Halo 2?
3.
Okay, 3 was bitching.
We're a
That was
badass.
2010 at the time.
I probably beat your
Hey, that's
guys'
the year I graduated
asses
high
so
school.
many times in Halo 3. I
Halo
was
3
a
for
Halo
us was
3 junkie.
multi-team
Actually,
a lot.
I don't know about that. We played with
Avatar was 2009.
Correct.
late 2009 then, because it came out in December.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's like, "Want to go see Avatar with you and your girlfriend at the time?"
Yeah, I don't remember who it was.
And I was like, "Yeah, sure. If you don't mind me being a third wheel." He's like, "I don't care."
Why do you sound like drunk Sylvester Stallone?
Because this is what
right
he
now?
sounded like.
Okay.
Yeah. Very true.
I don't care.
Wow, it's like spot on. I couldn't tell the difference.
So
I
we go
know.
watch Avatar.
what
It
you
was
do.
awesome.
Very good film.
Very good film.
Still have no idea what the fuck it's about.
It's Dances with
All
Wolves.
these
Dances
years
with
later-
Pocahontas.
Just put Kevin Costner in fucking.
You say that, and I
What's his
still don't know
name?
what the fuck it's about.
You've never watched Dances with Wolves?
No!
Come on, man.
No!
All right, so I'll give you the quick synopsis.
Sure.
So what it's about is about this guy who goes to a different planet.
I get that,
AKA,
yeah,
He
he
goes to a new land.
He
for
sleeps in a little
resources.
chamber.
Finally, he discovers the beauty of this world and decides that he wants to save it from his homeland.
And he's fucking a blue bitch
It was essentially a closet.
with his hair dick.
It was like a pro EPA movie back in
Hair
the day.
dick.
Hair dick?
But
Hair dick.
to kind of go back to like our original topic.
You gonna
Sure.
take
Like-
this hair dick?
hair dick.
Hair dick.
So
But anyway,
after the movie, I'm not done.
fine. Fuck you.
After the movie, we
I
go
got
back
more
to the
stuff I
car.
wanna say.
It's not much longer, but we go to
That's
the
what she
car and
said.
he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go say goodbye to my girlfriend." So you don't even turn the car on. I'm gonna add. You just leave me in the car and you proceed to go talk to your girlfriend for 25 minutes.
Holy shit.
Keep in mind, phones were not that advanced back then, and I couldn't do shit. But
You're just
sit
freezing
there.
in the car.
Just sit there and freeze. It was horse shit.
You son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch.
But Avatar was good.
It was a good movie.
I still have no idea what the fuck it was about.
Avatar's got me through some
to
tough
hammer that
times.
home. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know what it's about. I get the
I
idea.
know what it's about, but I
I
don't
have
know
no
what it's
idea what the fuck it is. Like, what the fuck?
But like
We'll get those 6 sequels eventually.
The Dark Knight was just a good movie in general, but it wasn't a Batman movie because characters didn't really relate or show signs of Batman. The Joker showed more signs of being the actual Joker. Like in the
Two-Face
comic
as
books.
well, I would say.
Yeah,
but
Two-
I see what you're saying with
Like-
fringe characters.
Like Batman wasn't Batman. Especially in the Dark Knight Rises. In the Dark Knight Rises, I'm gonna fight Bane. He whooped my ass. I'm gonna fight Bane again. Same way.
Joker?
Yeah.
I'm gonna fight Bane again the same way.
That's literally what he does. Doesn't change his strategy.
My favorite thing about Dark Knight Rises was he tells somebody, I can't remember who it was, it might have been Catwoman or somebody, I don't use guns. And the fucking next scene, he hands somebody else a fucking shotgun in the movie.
He hands them. He
Yeah.
doesn't use the gun.
But he's like proponent, and you know this from he's a proponent of it in the comics too, that no one uses guns. If you're good, you don't use a
This isn't
gun.
the fucking
There's
comics,
different.
Nate.
Yeah.
This is the Nolan verse.
Yeah, and he shit on that last movie.
I still enjoyed it.
I
will say that.
I stand by my opinion that the last
I
movie
watched
was
a
better
guy.
than the second.
I watched a guy from Minnesota pass out watching that movie.
God, dude, that guy was fucked up.
Opening night. No, so I'm pretty sure we told this story.
We have told this
Yeah.
story on the show
But
before.
Nate probably hasn't heard it because apparently he doesn't listen to the show.
I guess maybe once you start telling the story, it'll jog
What a
my memory.
cocksucker.
So
Feels bad,
it's
man.
opening night,
Benedict
Sure.
Cumberbatch.
and we had a neighbor. And I had a neighbor in my apartment complex.
Sure.
He's from Minnesota.
Okay.
His name was Kevin.
He likes to soak.
He wore
dicks.
Crocs too.
Kevin from Minnesota, like the cracks.
He was he would just bug us.
Okay.
'Cause he was very
He
friendly.
just wanted to be Blaine's friend there, pal, but Blaine was like, no, you ain't getting his dick, pal.
He walked into our apartment once, and Justin was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Like, because he just like kind of like peeked his head. He opened the door and peeks his head in. Justin's sitting there like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Oh hi." He's like, "Get the fuck out of here!" But so he's like, "Hey, where are you guys all going?" We're on our way. We're on our way to
About to walk out the door.
to the midnight release of Dark Knight Rises.
Sure.
And he's like, "Oh boy, can I join?" So he invites himself. Ends up sitting alone because the theater's packed. We get split up.
Yeah, it was like 3, 2, and then 1, and he was
Oh,
the one.
he
Could've
was
just
the
said
one.
no.
And he was also drunk off his ass. So he just 5 minutes into the movie
KO.
conked out, just done.
Damn.
Dude, he was out through the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like he didn't
Damn.
even like wake up like during like anything. He was out through the whole movie. We get to the credits and we're like, Kevin, and he goes, "That was good." We're like, what?
Oh yeah, that was
real good.
Because I remember like these kids in front of him like turn around and they saw you pass. They're like, "How the fuck do you pass out?" Like they were like all like, "This is amazing."
I'll
Like,
tell you right now,
fucked
I wasn't
up.
even
He's fucked
drunk,
up,
and I
dude.
fell asleep during The Dark Knight. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
I fell asleep in the Dark Knight, but I was very emotionally.
I
drained
stand
that
by
day.
that opinion.
Boo.
I actually fell asleep in the rain.
We did this on 200.
Yeah, you did.
We don't need to go
he
back
fell
to
asleep
it.
in the rain. We went to a drive-in theater. Second night. This is the second night of our 3-night binge.
I was very sad because my girlfriend had just dumped me literally like 2 hours before this movie.
Oh, shit.
No, you dumped her
No.
and then realized I shouldn't have done that, and she wouldn't take you back
No,
same day.
I dumped her because she was gonna dump me.
Did you jizz on her face?
No.
Then that's really sad. I'm so sorry.
Still dumped her though.
Still dumped her.
Still, I didn't want to. But so we went to the movie and like we're like sitting outside and then all of a sudden
Actually,
I just
no. This was
remember
night
waking
3.
up.
This was night 3.
Waking up about a quarter of the way through the movie and I'm wrapped in a fucking cocoon.
Yeah, he's laying on his side on the ground, wrapped in a cocoon blanket while it's raining.
On
We're-
top of him.
They're all looking at me from the fucking car just like
We're
"This is
inside
so
the car.
sad."
It's like,
So what you guys are saying, hold on, time out. Let me defend Matt here like I'm his lawyer. You guys were all assholes, is what you're trying to say.
Absolutely.
You left him in the rain?
it was 2008.
Bro,
we were
I
seniors
would
in
have
high school.
waited until
We
you were
didn't give a
sleeping
fuck.
and pissed
It
in
was
your
funny.
mouth if you would have left me in the rain.
Excuse me,
Fuck
prosecutor.
that. Yes.
My client, my defendant over here. I'm gonna,
My dick.
my dick. Here at Podcastrophe, we maintain the belief that only the fucking strong survive.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm a man now.
So how the fuck is he still standing?
Yeah, how the fuck am I still standing? Either way.
He's had a real good support network. Fat Mark McGuire. Do I need to say anything?
He's like a human cat. 9 lives. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying?
All 30% of it.
But, yeah, like the Dark Knight and everything were good movies, but they weren't like superhero movies. And then I remember I was super against watching Guardians of the Galaxy.
Dumb.
I was like, it just looks
Yeah.
like. Well,
Fucking idiot.
this was my
Whack.
reasoning. I really liked The Watchmen.
Sure.
Honestly, The Watchmen, if I look at it, is like my favorite superhero movie.
It's
Absolutely.
the pinnacle for superhero movies staying true to their comic.
Except for the very end.
The end is, but they
But the
have
end
to
is
modernize
better.
it.
The end was better.
Correct.
In
They
my
modernized
Listen to
the
the
end.
fucking source material.
Exactly.
Every one of us in this room has fucking said it.
Listen to the source material is the basis for my Venom argument, so get ready.
Yeah,
but
we're gonna get there. We're
just,
gonna get
But,
there.
like, The Watchmen's like my favorite superhero movie. So I was like, that just looks like a cheap ass version of The Watchmen. That was my reasoning.
Okay.
Then finally, like, I watched it probably like 3, 4 years ago.
Okay.
Like, my roommates at the time were like, listen, it's really fun. You should just watch it.
Shut
like-
the fuck up and do it.
I was like, fine. Whatever. You guys rent it, I'll watch it.
Micah Taylor is actually the one who convinced me to go see Guardians because
I think it was on Netflix.
with Chris Pratt, I was pretty apprehensive of seeing him in a big screen role.
Well, when I saw that they had cast Dave Bautista in the role,
that
of
was definitely
Drax,
part of it for me.
I was like, this is a shit cast. Like, because Chris Pratt wasn't really Chris Pratt at the time. He was the dude from fucking Parks and Rec.
Right.
Yep.
Andy.
So I was like, you know what? I'm not watching that. So I finally watched it, and I was like, this is fucking great. Like, I loved it.
It's the best movie that Marvel's put out, in my opinion.
I agree. Because it was the most fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
So after I watched that, which I still haven't actually seen Guardians 2. I want to, but I just haven't got
It's
the
not as
opportunity,
good as the first one.
which I've heard.
It's every bit as good as the
I
first
think
one.
Guardians
it's just
2
not better.
suffers from people not appreciating it on a rewatch. If you watch it a second and third time, Guardians has some subtleties that you don't catch on your first watch. So you're like, holy shit, they were really, really thinking about every step of the way, every step of the way. I mean, there's so many subtleties in introducing. They introduce Ego and the story of Ego. They tell you who Ego is in the first Guardians movie as a subtle Easter egg that you don't even notice, right? In the coordinates for Nowhere, the coordinates spell out Meredith Quill Baby Daddy. Like BD is in Baby Daddy, which is the modern abbreviation therefore. They took their time building a true story. So it just, for the second one, I think the thing that falls flat, in my opinion, was the soundtrack choice. It made me less connect. There were some songs. I love The Chain by Fleetwood Mac, one of my all-time favorite songs.
Me too.
That bass line, bow, do, 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 do. Like, that shit is amazing. But Father and Son by Peter Gabriel at the end of the movie or whatever, I don't fucking need it. Get the fuck out of here. I don't need you to emotionally
Mary
pull at
Poppins,
my...
y'all.
I don't need you to pull at my heartstrings, Jean-Du, you blue cunt.
I was actually really that's part of the reasons why I don't enjoy the second one as much as I enjoyed the first one. Number one, I don't feel like Ego was as good a villain as Ronan was.
I can agree with that as well.
But Ronan
Different
was
kind of villain, though.
But Ronan
yeah.
was only on the screen for like 7 minutes.
That's irrelevant. He
well,
was still
we're
a
gonna
better
get
villain.
more of him here soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice segue.
We're gonna
Beautiful.
get to that in a moment, for sure.
Why can't I ever segue?
Segway.
I paused your segue.
It's
So-
not charged.
I still haven't even actually got to answer the original question.
Yeah, we'll get to that too. You fucking opened the wrong can of worms, my man, by giving me the chance to speak again.
Spigot.
Ego, which I loved their casting of Ego. Blaine complains about Ego a lot in Guardians
what?
2. Yeah.
No, I don't.
It's not even really Ego, man. We've had this fucking argument.
That's not me.
Yeah.
That's not me.
It was you and I at Subaru. It's not
wasn't
even
me.
the fucking story of Ego, man. Yeah.
I mean, technically speaking, hold on, let me interject.
I'm not saying he's wrong, but
If-
you fucking said it.
if-
I never said that.
Don't tell me I'm wrong.
If Blaine said this, he has some. There is some merit to this. First of all, Ego's not at all Peter Quill's dad. Jay
Correct.
Sun
No.
is. And second of all, James Gunn fucking hated the character of Jay Sun and thought he was a scumbag and thought
Right.
it would be more interesting to introduce Ego, and that's
Correct.
the whole point that we have.
Yeah.
And that is where we also tie into another loose segue because, again, with the Venom conversation, there are some things you can and cannot do with story remolding that do and don't work. And there were some things that happened within that movie that we'll get into when we
Right.
get there.
So
Yeah.
I loved the casting of Kurt Russell as Ego.
Word.
I thought he fucking killed it.
Yep,
But
Drax, I got a penis.
Right. I thought I loved Mantis in the second film. I thought she was perfect.
And I think Manus improves in Infinity War. tenfold.
Absolutely. Especially her relationship with Drax. You know, one of my I love Guardians 1. I stand by my opinion that it is the best film that Marvel has put out thus far. My biggest issue with Guardians 1 and 2 is Drax. Drax is not Drax.
Yeah, also true. They remolded Drax's
Drax is one
personality.
of the only Drax is one of the only living fucking beings powerful enough to challenge fucking Thanos. Drax can't even fucking challenge Ronan the Destroyer.
It is some power nerfing, but I will
That is
say
bullshit. Like, I hated Dave Bautista cast as Drax. I ended up loving Dave Bautista as Drax, and I stand by that.
It's still not Drax.
Stay true to the fucking source material!
God damn.
God!
But I think James Gunn does really good with Suicide Squad 2.
So,
I think it's a good choice.
I have been holding that one back. I have been holding that one back for a long time.
No, time out. Matt just got us all the way back on that tangent.
I'm mad.
Totally forgot.
How are you?
I totally forgot we were talking about it. He's like, by the way, Suicide Squad 2, you motherfuckers.
So,
oh, damn.
I've been holding that one back for a really long time. Excuse me for the burp. I've been holding that one back for a really, really long time, and I had to let it fly. Because I could not.
Gotta do what you gotta do, man.
I could not contain it anymore, so I apologize to any of the audio listeners
Watch out
for what I just did to you.
Sometimes it really do be like
Sometimes
that.
it really do be like that, and I feels you. I feels you hard, and what I just did was whack.
Wait, were you hard when you were feeling them, or were you just feeling them hard?
All of it.
Okay.
Both of these.
Both of them.
Both of them.
Both of them.
But so Drax got even worse for me in the second film. Until you watch him and Mantis's relationship start to blossom.
Yes.
And then you get to see him and Mantis's relationship kind of in the, I want to say, limbo stage in Infinity War. They're finally on an even playing field. You know, they're it's almost like they're actually friends.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And I would like to see if we ever get Guardians 3, which I actually hope we don't get Guardians 3 because it's without James Gunn. I would actually like to see a little bit of a Mantis/Drax love story. I think that would be one that you could kind of eke in there without a lot of work, and it would make sense.
And you just get behind them.
And you just do it.
I'm going to say that there is a world where Guardians 3 can be made. And I say it only by this. If they stay true to the script, James Gunn's script, his story, which is obviously a vision he had planned out with Kevin Feige and everyone else way before all this other shit happened.
Right.
Okay, if they stay true to that, and also one very important minute detail of his soundtrack choice, which he's already written in the script. He did it every time. As he's writing out a part to the different parts of the script and the scenes, he writes what song is playing over it or what specific part of the line of the song is playing over it because he visualizes that stuff. If those two things stay true to it, I don't care who directs it. It could be Taika Waititi, it could be Travis Knight, it could be Stephen D. Knight.
It could be Tyler the Creator.
It could be Tyler the Creator. It could be Drew Goddard. I don't give a fuck. It could be Blaine Dick Tyner. Like,
I'd like to see Happy do it myself.
oh, Favreau? Ooh,
That'd be cool.
That's a name.
As much as I don't
expecting.
want it to happen, I would like to see Favreau do it.
I'm behind that actually, fully, but still, rehireJamesGunn.com.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
So the reason I brought this up, like I said, I wanted to get everybody. Blaine and I have talked about it in length already on the show. I wanted, and you and I talked about it one of the last times that I was on JIC. But Matt and I normally get looped into this. Let's argue about DC for an hour and a half.
How do we fix the DC?
How do we fix the DC universe? Because, I'm not a DC fan, but I love DC's villains, and I was one of the few people out there that appreciated Suicide Squad for what it was. I really liked a lot of things about that movie.
Did a good job of highlighting certain villains for sure and bringing them to the big screen like we didn't think we'd ever get.
Well,
KillerCroc.com.
I mean, thank you. That's my number one. I really like
Waylon Jones, the end. Amazing to see him on the big screen.
I really like to see Killer Croc doing his thing. My favorite scene in Suicide Squad is towards the end in that battle that everyone shits on. Because, it was a little bit dumb. But seeing Pyro go full Aztec god and challenge another god, like that, just that portion of the story. I mean, if you break everything down and then ignore it and just focus on Pyro and his story, and then if you do a little bit of research into what Pyro actually is, for people that haven't followed Suicide Squad or the character, do a little bit of research, and then it'll make you appreciate that scene or that how his scenes in the film play out and then climax to that place.
Character building, I think.
Yeah, I appreciate Pyro for a lot of the same reasons that I appreciate Ghost Rider. And there's not just one Pyro. It's not just one guy. Just like there's not just one Ghost Rider. It's been multiple people. And it's kind of altered every time that it's been a different person. But watching his character development, and then in the end, he ultimately, much like Majin Vegeta we talked about earlier, you know, he gives himself up for this ragtag group of people that 45 minutes earlier in the film he didn't give two fucks about. You know, I drew a lot of parallels with Guardians of the Galaxy with that, which is what Suicide Squad was aiming to do all along, was kind of draw that Guardians vibe and try and suck some fans in and say, hey, this is a fun movie. I mean, it's all about villains, but let's see how this plays out.
More or less a ragtag group of individuals put together in a situation.
Not everything is a team of people that have been together for 15 years working in hand to where I can read your movements before you even make them kind of shit, you know. Obviously, the script was awful. The writing was awful.
I think where Suicide Squad suffered the most was the fact that, stick to the source material, the situation itself was a little too big for the team. Like, it's not believable that this team would be facing an end-of-world threat.
For us. But for someone that's never been exposed to the source material, like that it would totally make sense.
Well, these guys are just heroes or anti-heroes trying to save the day.
I mean, I guess that makes sense.
Doesn't Slipknot get his fucking head blown off in that movie?
Immediately.
like whoa.
Like, they say, don't run away because you have these bomb collars on your neck.
No, we don't.
And,
well, actually, he gets egged on, right?
Yeah, he gets egged on by Captain Boomerang, who I also loved in the film. My second favorite in the film.
Digger Harkness.
Obviously, you know, I don't need to say anything about Will Smith because he's always fantastic.
Killed it as Deadshot, absolutely.
But, you know, as soon as he's getting egged on by Captain Boomerang, okay, I'll just fucking zip line up to the top of this roof. He gets off the ground and, let me just tap this button on my watch. Boom, gone. So.
Ding.
Like, I haven't seen Suicide Squad. I've seen bits of it, and I'm just like,
Watch the director's extended cut, whatever you want to call it.
It
I
does
appreciate
help.
it a lot.
See,
better.
I've seen, like, probably the first, like, half hour, and then I turned away because I was like, this is getting boring. Like, it spent, like, that first half hour doing character development. And then I kind of would go back and forth between another show because it was on television.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I would go back, it would be like an hour, at the hour mark, hour and a half. And it still felt like I was in the same exact part of the movie.
Yeah.
Just felt very slow.
Too much Margot Robbie, not
I
enough
think
everybody else.
Kind of going with Nate's point, you know, James Gunn, he's going to, you know, get the best cast. Like, he's going to get the better characters, I think, the more well-known characters. And then, two, kind of what I said, I hope that they kind of shrink that group of people. Like, we don't need the whole movie to be character development and then like, oh shit, go do something now.
Well, and I think part of the reason Suicide Squad suffered too, there's a lot of really diehard fans for Jared Leto. You know, whether it's his acting career, his music career, regardless, there is a lot of diehard fans of Jared Leto. So in my mind, almost casting Jared Leto as the Joker was, let's kind of pick on these fans' heartstrings and draw them into the movies to watch this film. And then his variation of the Joker, for a lot of people that have a hard-on for Heath Ledger's Joker, which I'm not one of those people. I've said it on every show that I've ever talked about Batman and the Joker. He wasn't even remotely good enough. Where I appreciate it is I like a lot of the fan theories where he's not really the Joker.
Actually, Jason Todd.
Jason
Todd. I like
that
theory so much.
So if I was James Gunn, knowing that Jared Leto is available because he does not have a very full acting work portfolio.
He is doing Morbius right now.
Yeah.
He is kind of busy with that. I would say that's going to be the one road bump in this theory, but continue.
But depending on when this film gets into production, depending on Jared Leto's work schedule, if I was him, I would take a strong look at what fans are saying is that theory, and then I would kind of tie that in if I needed to.
I got a little,
because I think part of the
thing
reason
for you.
Suicide Squad struggled was if you completely removed the Joker from the film, period,
Doesn't change the film.
it doesn't change the film. So it's totally unnecessary material. And you might have been able to put a little bit better material in its place. So
What if
that's
it
my
was-
spiel.
What if it's not Jason Todd?
Okay.
What if it'd be like Tim Drake and they go like Batman Beyond, The Return of the Joker?
Ooh.
I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with it. However you want to spin it, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But it not being the actual incarnation of Joker, like almost a double.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
okay.
a copycat.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with that in any incarnation.
But yeah, just with like Suicide Squad 2, like James Gunn, I think I don't want to pull out the whole like he's gonna want like to get back at Marvel.
Well, and that's part of the reason I brought this up, because if I was James Gunn, knowing the talent that I have, knowing the talent that I can assemble underneath me to make really dope movies, I would fully fucking put both middle fingers up and say, fuck you, Disney. Us folks over here at Warner Brothers can do it just as fucking good as you can.
Yeah, like that's what I'm wondering. Like, is he gonna be like, you know what? I made a good movie. I'm established. People know I can make a good movie. So
That's what I would do.
Maybe
I can't
I'm just
speak for
gonna
what
say,
he's going to do,
fuck you.
but
Like you
that's
said to
definitely
Disney.
what I would do, hands down.
Okay, as of right now, we do need to mention that it's like kind of a toothpick agreement that he has with DC. They've not officially signed contracts. They're not officially deep into pre-production or
Right,
anything.
right.
It's all conjecture and
Yeah,
what they
it's just
want to have
assumptions at this
happen.
point.
Let me tell you, it's not impossible to imagine a world where Disney, after maybe the deal with Fox is done, goes, hey, we fucked up. James Gunn, let's have conversations. Let's see if we can make this right. And maybe he does get brought back, and in doing so, bring him back to GOTG3. He is removed from Suicide Squad 2. That is a small window. I'd say like 30% possibility, but I do see it being something that could happen in the scenarios we've seen.
Well, here on Podcastrophe, we're all about 30%.
Fuck yeah,
Or do you
Captain
think
30%.
or do you think Disney is steadfast and stubborn enough that they're going to stand by what they have ultimately decided regardless?
I'm about to show you a little math. Do me a little math for me.
Okay.
Or do me a math. Bring up your calculator. Take 1 million people and multiply that by, what, $12 in ticket sales?
Okay.
And I want you to tell me what that number comes up to. I'm pretty sure it's going to be 12 million, but just in case I'm
Right,
stupid.
it's
and
12
can't
Million
math.
times what?
12.
Okay, 12. It's 12 million. Pretty easy, right?
Yep.
It's 12 million.
That's the 30% right there.
Okay, so guaranteed at minimum, you're not making $12 million if you do GOTG3 without James Gunn, because that's the smallest amount of people that aren't going to see it just in protest. Because it's made national headlines, because there's a whole website, Rehire James Gunn, that takes you to the petition, which I think as of right now has like 784,000 signatures of people wanting to bring
not
him back.
including the cast,
Also
the
true.
actual actors themselves throwing themselves in to defend James
Dave
Gunn.
Bautista, in particular, he is very
Bane
outspoken.
Batista?
Bane Batista.
Because I would love to see that.
I'd like to see Dave Bautista as Luchador Bane,
Yeah.
That'd be
and I
wicked.
like Tom Hardy Bane.
That'd be pretty
so,
cool. But yeah. Anyway, we should probably segue to Captain Marvel now.
yeah, let's do
Ooh,
that.
play that trailer.
Oh, yeah, that segue.
That segue I
The,
tried.
the segue that
Your
Dick
segue-
had like 20
your
minutes
segue's
ago.
not- I'm sorry, okay?
So, Skrulls are the bad guys.
I wanted that to be Kitty from that 70s show.
I really wanted it.
I wanted that to be saved for the movie.
I wanted that. Like, I wish it would have just been an old woman she punched.
Noble warrior.
I think it would have been fun.
Accidentally. Oops. It's like Star Force, essentially.
Your life began the day it nearly ended. We found you.
So essentially, she was an American pilot, gets shot down. They bring her back to life with Kree blood.
Right.
So you could live
Okay.
longer, stronger,
Why are we not listening to Kanye West right now?
I'm not sure. I ain't saying she's a gold digger.
Wrong song, mate.
Something in my past is the key to all of this.
I'll be honest, it's kind of weird seeing him with one eye, or two eyes now.
And that's the point.
Yes.
I don't think that's the answer. The yes to that question was not about flying the plane. It's something else. Ben Mendelsohn looks like a phenomenal Talos villain.
I think I had a life here.
He also happens to be Nick Fury's boss at this time.
Right.
Oh, man.
I love Jude Law in this
I was
cast.
about to say, is that Jude Law?
Marvel, yeah.
I'm not gonna fight your war.
Super Saiyan.
It.
Aren't you the cutest little thing? Aren't you cute? What's your name? Huh?
Fury.
I'll be back.
Interesting thing to note about the cat. In the comics, the cat is actually named Chewie. Doesn't work because they want to kind of make it a little bit different. She's a pilot, so they named her the cat Goose after Top Gun Goose.
Right.
So, just first reaction for me, I loved that trailer.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Even more hype.
I think Captain Marvel. I mean, if you broke every film down in the MCU up until Captain Marvel, I think, in my mind, Captain Marvel is going to be the best standalone film out of all of them. You have a good casting as your heroine. You've got great supporting cast as far as, Jude Law, Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, I don't need to name any more because they're all going to be fantastic.
Clark
Lee
Gregg,
Pace.
who
Yeah.
was surprisingly not featured in the trailer. No Agent Coulson, although he will be in the movie.
Right. Ronan the Accuser.
Lee Pace.
I mean, I don't need to go through all these people because the cast is fantastic. And we're bringing. I'm normally, here at Podcastrophe, we're normally not social justice warriors because we think all people are people and we should just fucking be people and leave each other alone. Would you agree with that, Blaine?
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeet. Yeah, I mean, and Matt for that matter.
Hey, bro, I'm a person.
Well,
You're a person.
yeah.
Good job. Keep being a
we're-
person.
We're done. We don't need to go any
That's
farther
it.
than that.
I don't need to know anything
What's that
else.
show? It was like, I'm a dude.
He's a dude.
She's
a dude. We're all dudes.
Yes.
Good burger.
Yeah, there we go.
What was that
So-
show?
But what I do like to point out, because I do recognize that in the superhero world, as far as what's in the cinematic world, we lack strong heroines other than Wonder Woman. I mean, because who do we have from Marvel? We have Scarlet Witch,
Gamora.
Black Widow.
Black Widow, and Mantis.
And Michonne.
And Nebula, if we want to say that.
Michonne.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know her
Okoye.
real name.
Denai Garari is her real name.
or her character's name, I can't remember.
Yeah, Okoye, yeah, for sure. And Suri and the rest of the gang, for that matter. But they're not
Top notch.
They're not top notch because they're not at the forefront all the time.
Yeah.
The Scarlet Witch definitely had her screen time in Infinity War, but the story wasn't about her. Captain Marvel is the reason that we all fucking survive Infinity War.
The snapping.
So she is the strongest hero of the whole fucking Avenger squad
Yeah.
that we've assembled right now. See what I did there?
I was about to say, I
Well,
thought you were going to say Marvel Comics. I was like, no.
No. Just I'm just talking MCU at this point. So
Feige or somebody confirmed that she is the most powerful.
Hands down. Stronger than Thor. Stronger than Stormbreaker. Her ability to go binary and become a true power source like the sun and tap the sun's energy. If they bring that to light in the movie, will be insane. And I hope that the after credit sequence of the movie is her landing right after the pager goes off. Like, she lands like, what the fuck is going on? And it's just nothing.
I would also like to see some Ant-Man after credit in Captain Marvel. Like
maybe,
what he's doing Quantum Realm style.
Maybe, but at the same time, I also don't want to see him until Infinity War.
That's fair.
Infinity conclusion.
So you brought up like Wonder Woman.
Yep.
Do you think this movie would do as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Had Wonder Woman not been made prior?
Hands down. I think this would do better than Wonder Woman.
Marvel has a hand on it. I mean, no offense to anything else, but Marvel knows their properties. They trust the directors they bring in, and they get results. How many times have they had a #1 movie in a row? You can't not count. I think it's like 17 or 18 at this point.
Yeah.
In a row.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just shy. I think that's from Captain America, the First Avenger on. Holy shit, that's an insane streak.
Because Iron Man was not.
Well, Iron Man 1 was good, but 2 set them back a little bit. It kind of slowed the thing down a little bit.
But Thor was also still
awful.
#1 when it came out.
Did Iron Man 2 do #1? I know that Incredible Hulk did not. Because it came out only...
definitely did not.
Incredible Hulk came out only a month after Iron Man 1. So
I still love the Incredible Hulk.
It wasn't a bad movie.
I liked it.
Did we go see that together?
Yeah.
So one of the big questions that I have for Captain Marvel, and it's kind of tie-in for Infinity War, and it's a little bit of a fan, let's nerd it out for a minute, question. Where does Thanos, in your minds, play out in the Kree Skrull deal? Does Thanos recognize the Kree and the Skrull as being potential threats to him?
Well, it doesn't matter because the snap was everything.
Right.
Half of all life, right?
But it was random. But it was at random.
Totally, but let me give you the deeper thought. What's going to happen when half the Kree go missing? What's going to happen when half the Skrull go missing? They're going to blame the other side. Thanos will reignite the Kree Skrull war over anything else out of Infinity War.
But my question is, do you think Thanos recognizes the Kree and or the Skrull as a threat to him?
Oh, not even close, because obviously he dealt with Ronan. Ronan is Kree, so he knows. He's like, oh, you're Kree, sure, you guys are crazy, whatever, fuck you, it doesn't matter. Like, it's fine, I can whip your ass. Sure, Ronan, you killed the other. Sure, you broke his neck, that's fine. I will paint the stallways with your blood, as he says. You know, like, he does not see anybody as a threat. I mean, he didn't even see that the Avengers is a threat, really.
He saw Thor as a threat.
Thor was the one exception, and technically Thor killed him.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if I covered this on JIC.
You did.
But technically speaking, Thanos died.
Yeah, you covered that.
So
go into that again, if you will.
Essentially,
I'm going to tinkle while you do that.
So Thor uses Stormbreaker to come at Thanos. Stormbreaker is actually stronger than the Infinity Gauntlet in that moment. It pushes the power of all 6 stones back to Thanos. Okay? As soon as he... Okay, think about Thanos' ability to be a master marksman in 1,500 years. That's his age, right? So he's killed people. He knows how to kill people. That stroke, and with Thanos saying you should have gone for the head, sorry to be any spoilers at all since you haven't seen the movie, but like
I already knew.
Completely null and void, because it's not you should have gone for the head. He killed you with the death blow. That's why Thanos ends up in the Soul World. He sees Gamora, who has also died, the only other character confirmed dead. And how did Thanos save himself? The gauntlet itself sent him to the Soul World to repair him long enough to come back and be resurrected. It literally, he literally set up resurrection within the Soul Stone as a plot point. So when we get into Avengers 4 and they need to bring back anybody who is snapped, the Soul Stone has already explained to you that it can bring people back to life. It's not a big deal. It did it to Thanos right in front of your eyes. You never paid attention to it.
Do you think he did it on purpose to set a point?
No. I think Thanos was fucked. I really do. I feel like if Thor aims higher and just has the decapitation and doesn't go, I want to make sure you know that when I told you in the beginning of this movie you were fucking dead, you're fucking dead. If he didn't have that moment and just went for the fucking kill shot, Thanos is done. The movie's over. No one, I mean, maybe the snap still happens and maybe there's all kinds of craziness that comes out of that. But the core of it is Thanos is not a character moving forward if Thor goes for the head, like he says.
So let me ask you this. Say Thor did split Thanos' skull in half.
Yep.
Does Thor in that moment pick up the Infinity Gauntlet?
Oh, yeah, and then that's where shit can go totally wrong. And that's the beauty of the gauntlet. Adam Warlock does it. Nebula does it. If we're talking comics, anyways.
Right. Yeah.
There are multiple characters that picked up the gauntlet. I mean, even more recently, I feel like I want to say Loki or Ghost Rider maybe had the gauntlet for something.
Darkseid had the fucking gauntlet.
What?
Yeah.
Darkseid's DC.
They had a crossover event.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. I actually did not. Thank you for teaching me something I did not know. So,
God, that'd be crazy.
Thor having the gauntlet, though, what's Thor's first thought? Loki. I have to bring him back.
In my mind, it would be his mom. That would be thought number one.
It's Loki, man. He's still reeling from that. It's the whole reason he kills Thanos is because he killed Loki in front of him. Such vicious reason. So having him take the gauntlet, he would maybe start to make mistakes. He resurrects Loki. Sure, that's not a bad idea. But then, well, if I can bring him back, I can do anything.
So and he brings his dad back next?
And then now Thor's drunk with power. Then the gauntlet creates exactly the same kind of problem. And maybe we see that in this next movie. Somebody who is not Thanos wielding the gauntlet and it corrupting them slowly.
Do you think we'll actually see...
Cap takes it. It goes into the sun with it.
Oh, my God.
Do you think we'll actually see Nebula get a hold of the gauntlet?
I would love it.
Comic style?
I mean, it would be beautiful if that was the case. I mean, if Thanos is like, let's say the movie opens with Thanos on the farm, he's sitting around. Don't know if you noticed, but his armor is on one of the scarecrows, like he's turned a scarecrow into him, essentially.
Yes.
And the next thing you see is Nebula walking around. It's just the skeletal remains of Nebula. If at some point in the movie she does, just for a blip, get the gauntlet and reverse things, it's going to be huge.
Well, my next question is, do you think the gauntlet that he has is destroyed? Because that was a lot of the speculation immediately after Infinity War, that the gauntlet that Thanos has is so damaged that it's basically rendered inert.
Watch this. I'm going to ask you a question. One question. You have all those stones, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a red stone that's the reality stone.
Correct.
Doesn't matter if that gauntlet's destroyed. It doesn't have to stay destroyed. He doesn't need to use it because as of right now, Thanos is altruistic. What he wanted, he accomplished. The only thing now he needs to do is prevent someone from reversing that, because it could mean to more cost of life, as his initial plan is.
Correct.
Which means I think it would be really interesting, hyper interesting even, if he took some of these characters that died from the MCU, some of these heroes, and made them his puppets. What if Spider-Man is essentially a Walking Dead Spidey protecting Thanos? And
well, especially because his Black Order is gone.
Yes, exactly. Who's going to protect him now? So I think there's a lot of plausibilities.
I
in that
also
regard.
would really like the kind of stance that Thanos just doesn't care anymore. He finally reached his goal. He finally is at peace. The galaxy is 50-50.
He can watch the sun set on a grateful universe.
Existence is 50-50. He doesn't care what happens at that point because he has reached his goal.
I think the question that needs to be answered in all of this, in the Infinity War thing, and Matt, I don't know if you know this or not, but you already have the Asgardians sacrifice half of their people.
So half of half is now gone.
Is half of half gone, is the question.
If it's totally at random, that half that is remaining, could all of them be there?
Or one of them be gone.
Right.
Okay. But is it half of every race? So it's pure and fair. Every race is cut in half.
I think it is half of
all
total,
life.
all life in existence.
Including animals.
Including plants and animals.
Oh, plants.
In my mind, that's how it makes the most sense.
I never thought about vegetation.
In my mind, that's how it makes the most sense. Because Groot species would also be affected.
But I've also said this as a spoiler. I think I know the way around to keep Groot alive, and that's in Stormbreaker.
Mm-hmm.
He's still there.
Right.
Plant him.
Yes.
That's all I can say.
But that once Groot went, in my mind, it's like, okay, then some trees on a planet are just gone.
True.
Because it's all Thanos, the way that he says it, all life in existence.
All those trees in that first Lord of the Rings movie, gone. They can't walk anymore. They're all fucking done.
Well, like what you said, I kind of like the idea of Thanos just not giving a shit anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
if you want to come take it, here it is. You can carry this burden.
Yeah, we'll see if you can have this power and wield it.
Exactly. How well will you do when you have the choice?
Mm-hmm.
That there are a lot of dangerous questions.
Great character development, especially with him and Nebula.
Yes.
Because the scenes where they're on his ship and, he's like, well, I've got fucking Nebula around back here. I mean, I got her strung up behind the outhouse. I mean, Like, she tried to kill me, and she almost did. He is the only person, other than Tony Stark and Thor, in the film that recognizes being a threat to his life. Hulk isn't. Hulk is the strongest living thing in existence, potentially. The madder he gets, the stronger he gets, if you go comic way.
Yep.
So all you have to do is make Thor or Hulk more mad, and he's stronger than Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet.
Theoretically.
Theoretically, is what I'm saying.
Oh my gosh. So I have a thought.
Just a second.
Sure.
Hold that thought.
I'll save it.
So I picked that up viewing 2 that Thanos recognizes 3 people. Nebula, then Thor, or I'm sorry, Nebula, then Tony Stark, and then Thor. Those are the only 3 people that he recognizes as being a threat. The entire movie. Kind of Doctor Strange,
I was about to say, what about
but not
Doctor
really.
Strange?
Because he says, you're a wizard and I've beaten your tricks.
Okay, so twofold. I'm going to talk about Doctor Strange for a second, but I want to talk about Black Widow being a sacrifice play.
Oh, you're going back to my original theory.
Exactly. If Black Widow sacrifices herself on behalf of the greater good, that would probably, based on what we know and her relationship with Bruce Banner, make him so enraged and so overwhelmed with emotion, maybe Hulk's out to another level that is unstoppable.
So you're thinking World Breaker?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
So Blaine and Nate and myself, prior to Infinity War, all of us, and including Brando, kind of sat down in our own little hubs, and we debated the trailers, we debated the rumors, we debated a lot of stuff.
We looked at it from all angles. And by the time it was all said and done, between Blaine, Nate, Brandon, and myself, we had pretty much pegged Infinity War scene by scene. And you and I, after we left the theater, standing in the parking lot, called it scene by scene.
Yeah.
Only thing that I wasn't right, or that we as a collective group were not right about, my original theory with the Hulk was that original trailer scene that you see when the children of Thanos are mauling
all the Outriders
are mauling the Hulkbreaker suit, or the Hulkbuster suit, I'm sorry. My original theory was, in that moment, you get Black Widow dying, however. It doesn't matter how it is.
Randomly, tragically,
however, it's irrelevant.
Okay.
She dies. Other than Tony Stark, Black Widow is the only person that Bruce Banner has an emotional connection with. Potentially sexual/physical connection with. Black Widow is the only one.
Some desire there.
She's the only one that recognizes him as anything other than the Hulk besides Tony. Okay? So he sees her die, however, and that's when the Hulk emerges. The Hulk busts out of the Hulkbuster suit, and then that's how we beat Thanos. That's how we challenge Thanos. So I went with that theory pretty hard.
Yeah.
Because as a Hulk fan, my favorite 2 characters in all of comic nerddom are the Hulk and Venom.
I love Lou Ferrigno.
I love me some Lou Ferrigno, okay?
Yeah.
I hated Eric Bana Hulk, but I liked Edward Norton Hulk.
I liked Edward
I thought
Norton
it was
a lot.
pretty good. I also...
Actually, up until Guardians, and The Incredible Hulk was my favorite Marvel movie.
Really?
Yeah. I love The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton.
I wouldn't go back to Edward Norton from where we're at now.
I like Mark Ruffalo as Hulk, yeah.
I think just overall, Mark Ruffalo is a better Bruce Banner, and then the Hulk is all CGI. So I don't need Edward Norton. I would say Edward Norton is a better actor than Mark Ruffalo, but Ruffalo is such a good Banner. Why would I go back?
Yeah.
You know, why would I even look forward to something else? Mark Ruffalo is my guy. But that was always my theory, that ultimately Black Widow, through sacrifice or accident or whatever, is, especially after watching the film and not seeing the Hulk for the majority of the movie, I think that's the way that you get the green guy back. And then it makes sense. because Scarlett Johansson, at this point in the film, is outmatched, outplayed.
She's pretty much Hawkeye in every movie.
But Hawkeye is a little bit more useful in my mind.
It's kind of like that SNL sketch where he's got the 11 arrows.
Yes.
He's like,
Yeah.
11 less bad guys.
Yes.
Puts on the sunglasses.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm not a writer for Marvel or Disney, but I think that's ultimately the way that you go, because Scarlett Johansson is one of the longest tenured people in the MCU.
Yeah.
Her contract's got to be coming up.
Her
soon.
contract's coming up, I think. Nate can offer more on that for sure, because I think he knows better than I do.
We're supposed to be getting the Black Widow series, right?
Well, and that, especially with all the Disney streaming service shit.
Yeah.
You know, you do your Scarlet Witch and the Vision, you do your Winter Soldier and Falcon and your Loki shows. When those are on break, then you debut your Black Widow shit, and then it all makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's done. You know, let's do a little bit of something else.
I would
What's up,
like-
Baxter, you fat piece of shit?
I would like a series with Black Widow and Hawkeye.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that would be a really cool show.
Let's see what the fuck happened in Budapest.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Infinity War yet.
Well, I'm sorry.
It's fine. I
I
knew
can-
it happened.
I have it. You can borrow it.
Well, I think
You
it's
look
on
like
Netflix.
you're about to die.
I think it's on Netflix now in December, so I'll probably just watch it.
Yeah, it's on Netflix
Yeah,
right now.
so I'll probably just watch it here soon. That was
You
my.
look like you're gonna die.
Yeah,
I look
you
like
do.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
You
I've
look
been
like-
itching my eyes a lot, so they're like really puffy.
Yeah, they're really puffy, and your hair looks like you got butt fucked.
That's a
Oh.
great observation.
You look like you just got pegged right now by that beer bottle.
But I think I'm gonna I'll watch that, but kind of like knowing already kind of what would happen. I think it'd be really cool, like what you said. If Thanos just doesn't care, like what would you do if you willed this power? And like he uses it to tempt Tony Stark.
Ooh.
Because Tony, what's Tony gonna think about? Do I bring my parents back? And then
Especially after the events of Winter Soldier.
yeah, exactly.
You know.
Civil War.
Or yeah, Civil
Yeah,
War.
thank you. Not only do I, man, you've been on point with the corrections tonight for me. You're not normally there.
What up?
That or I just mean like basically any event.
He learned from the best.
Ooh.
Just try to like be like, yeah, let's
Fat
see
Mark
how you
McGuire.
deal with this power, and then as the movie like progresses, it's them coping with it, and then
Well, like we just talked about, you've got Chris Evans, you've got Robert Downey Jr., and you've got Scarlett Johansson. Those are your three longest tenured people,
I
as
think
far
Chris
as
Hemsworth, yeah.
and Chris Hemsworth. I'm sorry.
You will love me.
He's like burying his head, like yes.
You've got those four people as your longest tenured under contract. I don't, and Nate and Blaine and I have all talked about this in length. I don't see Cap, Tony. I don't see both of them surviving Infinity War. In my mind, it makes the most sense that they're both gone.
I agree with that. That's,
At the same time, you could make a strong case for... Get off the microphone, you fat fuck. You could make a strong case for... Either get out of my beer. Jesus fuck.
Baxter's like flaring his asshole to the camera.
You could make a strong case for Cap surviving, living on with what Tony left him. You could make the strong case for Tony surviving, living on through Cap's legacy.
Cap is trapped in the 40s. Time travel is going to trap him in the 40s. And Tony's going to get stuck as an AI. He'll die, but he'll have an AI program left to Peter. That's my thought.
I think it would make the most sense if Tony or some form of Tony stays in the Marvel universe just for Spider-Man going forward, because they've established that relationship as.
But at the same time, in Marvel Spider-Man right now, we don't have the loss of Uncle Ben.
Mm-hmm.
The loss of Tony can fill the role of a little bit of that loss of Uncle Ben, in my mind. So,
But I feel like you save that for an actual Spider-Man movie.
Speaking of, I think we're going to get the Far From Home trailer tomorrow for listeners on Podbean, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and iTunes
my man.
at podcastrofreepod.podbean.com.
If you want just Podbean and iTunes.
Yeah.
But I think that makes the most sense of it'd be Tony going forward than Cap. I feel like Cap is more of a symbol of. It would be a better symbol for sacrifice.
I made that argument a long time ago, and then I looked at it from a little bit different perspective. You have Cap and Tony going against each other from the beginning, and then in the end, Tony sacrifices himself more so to show Cap that he's not just the man in the suit.
He's not the billionaire playboy philanthropist.
Yep.
See, I mean, that makes sense, too.
Like I said, I think at this point you could look at it from any angle, and it makes sense. And whatever angle they just
storytelling.
Absolutely. And whatever angle they decide to go with, I will accept and be okay with.
Yeah.
In my mind, Tony's sacrifice makes the most sense. But I think all three of them have to go. You sacrifice Black Widow to then unleash the Hulk. Cap goes after Tony. Tony sacrifices himself for Cap.
You know, Tony's forward-thinking enough to create a replacement for himself, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he would find somebody to pick up the mantle of Iron Man. Yeah.
What if it's T'Challa's little sister?
Yeah.
Ooh, Shuri.
I've heard a lot of theory that she's going to be Iron Woman after Tony goes.
You could also see somebody like Bucky becoming Cap, or even Falcon becoming Cap.
And we've talked about that in
Yes.
length. Who do you put as the next Cap? Is it Bucky or Falcon?
My question is...
I think you could go either way and it'd be just fine.
We say those three have to go, but then we have Chris Hemsworth still, who is also one of the most tenured people.
But he's also the strongest Avenger prior to Captain Marvel.
I'm going to say a fucked up
thing. Let him
thing.
lead your team.
I'm going to say a fucked up thing here. Maybe Hemsworth also goes, and just for a time, not permanently goes, just for a time to give us the illusion of this happening.
He goes on vacation with Jane Foster?
No. We get Jane Foster Thor.
See, I'm not a fan of that.
And Natalie Portman steps into a different role and maybe forces her to be a different character, because the Jane Foster they've created in the movies is vapid. I don't like her. She does not work for what you want as a future tripping.
Well, and I think part of it is because Natalie Portman does not want to be in the role.
Exactly. She has resistance, and it's just a money-making thing for her, which is unfortunate. That's why she's not used in Ragnarok. But
I also love Natalie Portman, too, which is upsetting.
Fortunate. Yeah, I know. Do you think... So my question, I guess, is, in short, do you see her sticking on in favor of them giving her the chance to be Thor and maybe broadening her horizons, or do they recast in favor of getting someone who could be more in the future of Lady Thor?
In my mind, you don't even go the Lady Thor route because, and I can't remember if it was you and I or Brandon and I that went into this at length. You sacrifice Tony and Cap.
Yep.
And then who is left behind? Who is the most qualified to lead the Avengers?
I see what you're saying.
With Thor's character development through Ragnarok and through Infinity War, Thor is your guy to lead the Avengers. So though his contract is expensive, Robert Downey Jr.'s money is gone. Chris Evans' money is gone. Possibly Scarlett Johansson. Those three, all that money is off the table. Keep Chris Hemsworth where it's at. Let him lead the Avengers. He doesn't even have to have a strong role. Cameos, maybe the occasional Thor movie.
I think
just kind of play it out.
If he disappeared for a little bit and then he came back as an
Odin.
older kind of Thor.
King Thor.
Old man Thor.
Yeah.
King Thor.
Yeah, I
Thor.
would dig that 100%.
I would like that. I also think it would be interesting to see, if Thor sticks around in a full-time role, Chris Hemsworth, you can give him the maximum amount of money in a contract. You could relegate RDJ to cameo appearances, voice acting role, whether he's the AI, whether he is some sort of holographic thing for guidance for Peter or whatever
the first time that you pitched that to me, I loved it. It makes the most sense out of everything.
I don't see a world where listen, Robert Downey Jr. is the legacy player of the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
He is the MCU. Without him, and there's no way around it, without his work and ability to make Iron Man believable as a character, this all launched for what it is.
He's the king on the chessboard.
So essentially, to permanently take him off doesn't make sense. You're first of all, he wants to still make a little bit of something. He doesn't want to go do all other projects and forget about that Marvel money. It's been too good for him for 10 years, you know? Right. So give him best of both worlds. You go do whatever the fuck you want. We'll call you for a 2-minute.
And it's a franchise that he has embraced and enjoys being a part of.
Yes, it's because it gave him a chance.
I got a theory.
A second chance.
What if Thanos uses the Infinity Gauntlet to break reality and brings Venom from Sony into the Marvel universe?
Is that your segue?
Yes.
Good God, my man.
We'll work on that segue.
I want to wrap up this Infinity War conversation because we haven't had any of this conversation since
LaFiCon.
Since LaFiCon, for sure. That was kind of the last time that
Episode
we talked about it.
Episode 200 of JIC.
So, I mean, what
I thought it was a nice.
Yes?
It wasn't bad.
Okay. I figured that's where you were at because you still look like you're dead.
I'm just listening at this point.
Matt, Nate, and myself have all kind of said our piece.
Yeah, I've said everything I've needed to say over the last year. So.
Right. Matt throwing some good theories and some good...
I haven't seen the movie.
I think it's also important to note...
exposition out without actually even seeing the movie.
Yeah, totally.
Now we're on to the topic of the night.
Well, I want to add one tiny little flair, and this is just a subline that I want to throw away.
Ant-Man and Paul Rudd are the most important character in the MCU.
No, actually, I he broke me, son of a bitch. I was actually going to say that Scarlet Witch watching Vision die is going to lead to her creating a world where mutants do exist.
You think she goes evil?
Temporarily, yeah, just like House of M. They're going to do a modern House of M story.
Okay.
It will be our introduction to the X-Men.
That's what I was
think
getting
that
at.
is the most logical thing. Now, what you're doing is you're playing it on the reverse of what the actual House of M story, for those of you who may not have read it. House of M, Wanda decides that she doesn't want any mutants, but her and a very few choice mutants. So she essentially creates her own Snappening.
Right.
And there are only like 6 mutants in existence. Wolverine is one of them. But he starts to realize the world he lives in, where he's just this guy, is wrong, and this isn't how it's supposed to be, and something's off, and he's got to get to this lady Wanda, but he's not quite sure. And ultimately, they have to set things right. I think you do the reverse of this. However, the end result is, while it's not a world where only mutants exist, it's a world where some mutants do exist, and that's how you bridge the gap. You bring the now acquired Fox properties over, and Bob's your uncle.
To finish that up,
Yep.
which we have, especially you and I have talked at length, is how you introduce mutants and the X-Men into the MCU. It's the only way that makes sense. Because you can't just pop them in and say, yep, they've been here the whole time. They haven't been doing a fucking thing.
And they
They've
don't
been here
care
the whole
about
time.
society or the planet they live on.
Yep, you cannot do it that way. So,
Do you do that with Fantastic Four, though?
Fantastic Four in the negative zone. Easy. They've been trapped in the negative zone from an experiment that Reed Richards put them in, and that's how they actually get their powers, is being under exposure from years in the negative zone.
that's Nate's way. My way is don't fucking include them at all because they're shit superheroes and they all suck.
But here's the thing.
Totally incorrect.
Here's the thing.
Oh,
that is
shit.
Stan Lee's legacy.
Totally.
Well,
That's the
Totally.
first team he ever created.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. The Model T was the first car that Ford made,
And I'd still love to own one,
and
That
motherfucker.
thing would
Ford
be
can
really
fuck
cool.
off because I would not own a Model T if you paid for it.
We have a
Are you
Model
sure
T.
about that?
My-
If you were given the
if that
opportunity.
is the only fucking vehicle you could have, Nate,
No. Here's the deal.
My family's got a Model T.
Someone offers you,
fucking suck it.
much like his family.
runs.
You're jealous. I get that.
My family have one too. It's a Model A.
Okay, Model A's are dope too. What I'm saying is, you still want to have it because it's a part of the legacy. It isn't
Yeah.
the best fucking car.
No.
It's not a GT 500.
It
isn't the fucking Cobra.
The road traveled forward, not the road thought about behind.
Let me ask you a question. Let's just say they do bring the Fantastic Four in, and it's the fucking best movie since sliced bread, and it's
Okay.
better than Guardians.
Okay, wait a minute. In my mind, I'm sorry, folks, this is going to be a long one. You've got Matt, you've got myself, you've got Nate, Pod Daddy, the one, And then you've got 30%er Blaine over there, look like he got butt fucked by a water buffalo.
I don't know where that came from, but it was great.
So, in my mind, to do the Fantastic Four right, you have to have someone in.
Nate, there are no movies titled Sliced Bread. Rotten Tomatoes does not have that.
You twat. Get
What
the
if it's
fuck
the best
outta
movie
here.
since the fucking Godfather Part 2?
How about this? What if the Fantastic Four is literally the greatest movie you've ever seen,
Okay.
and it breaks your expectation?
For that to happen, you have to have someone extremely well casted as Reed Richards
Okay.
and
Invisible
fucking
Woman,
Human
Sue
Torch.
Okay.
I don't give a fuck about Invisible Woman. I don't care.
What about the Thing?
That could be anyone.
I have the cast, bro. I have the perfect cast for you that'll make you want to watch
Okay.
it.
If I don't agree with it, don't get mad.
Okay, that's fine.
Lay it on me.
Okay, so first and foremost, I'm going to tell you your Mr. Fantastic is John Krasinski, A Quiet Place.
Yeah, we agreed on that.
Easy.
a
There's
long
not
time
even,
ago.
we don't have to have that
I
discussion.
didn't even think about that, but that is
It's
fantastic.
so fantastic.
That's so
I
I
see
see what you did there, my man.
But what's even more fantastic, as it were, is to include his wife Emily Blunt and have her be Susan Storm.
Which is why I said it doesn't really matter. You could put anyone in that role
True.
as long as you have strong Reed Richards, strong Human Torch,
Correct.
mediocre Thing. You've got the cast.
Okay, so I'm gonna build your cast some more. Now you might not agree with the next two; they're a little fringe, but I think they play off each other nicely. I also think that they deliver what you want for both these characters. I think your Human Torch is Zac Efron. I know, triggered. Triggered.
You
oh,
got
man.
me. You might
I
as well
like that casting.
You might as well cast fucking Jonah Hill as the Human Torch.
No.
What about
He's a
that?
better actor.
What about that kid that played the Red Power Ranger in the new Power Ranger movie?
I haven't
Ooh.
seen it, so I
Ooh.
can't offer that.
He's in
Oh,
Stranger Things.
Yeah, he's in
Ooh.
Stranger Things season 2.
Yeah.
Billy, right? Isn't he Billy?
No,
in
he
that?
plays Jason. Oh no, he plays Billy in Stranger
Billy in
Things.
Stranger Things. Yeah, he's the douchebag. Billy. The brother with the long hair in Stranger Things.
Oh, the one that's trying to
stepbrother.
nail the sister?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no.
No.
That's you're thinking of Steve.
Yeah, not Steve.
Okay,
The,
I have no fucking idea.
the long-haired
I haven't
80s.
watched Stranger Things. So.
Sure, fair point. And then, honestly, your Ben Grimm thing, it's the easiest casting, but you'll never see it coming. John Cena. He's the right build. He has just enough comedy. He can bring the serious side to his ability to act. You've seen him in all kinds of movies do it.
Can he deliver, though, when it comes to drama?
We're gonna see with Bumblebee.
I genuinely think so.
Have you seen the movie Legendary?
No.
That's
Excellent
actually
movie.
pretty good.
It's a WWE film.
Really? Is it John Cena?
Yes.
Yeah, so he
Oh.
plays he's like a high school wrestler, like a former high school wrestler, and then some kid comes to him and wants to learn
It's
how
his
to wrestle,
brother.
and he teaches him. Or is his brother?
It's his brother.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay. I'll check it out. Legendary?
Excellent. It used to be
I'll
on
watch it.
Netflix.
Okay.
Okay, so going deeper than this,
Sure.
the most important part of your Fantastic Four film
Doctor Doom
is Doctor Doom. Hands down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You could fuck up every single part of that movie, and if you get Doctor Doom right, it's okay.
Yep.
Because why do you even need the Fantastic Four? You and I have agreed on this. Why do you even bring in the Fantastic Four into the MCU? There is one and only reason. It's Galactus. That's the
Yeah.
only reason you fucking bring it in.
It's twofold though, because Galactus brings Silver Surfer
Right.
and all the things that.
So this could be your Human Torch.
Oh, you showed him Jason from.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I'm totally okay with that.
So back to Doom. The Doom casting is tough because I feel like you need to look for an actor, or you need to look at somebody who is not mainstream to get a successful.
The guy that originally played
portrayal.
Doctor Doom, I can't ever remember his name, but I love him.
He was off of Nip Tuck.
That's
Yes.
what I was just thinking. I was about to just joke
I
and be like, get the guy
love
from
his
Nick
casting.
Tuck.
I
So you
loved
guys are
him as Dr.
talking.
Doom.
You guys are talking the 2005
Yes.
double reboot of Fantastic Four, not the 1994 original movie. That guy sucked as like Victor, but his Doom was fucking amazing. By the way, you can see that on YouTube.
Okay.
What if they cast like someone that It's like Ryan Gosling or George Clooney as Doctor Doom.
I
No.
know right now who fucking Nate once cast as Doctor Doom.
You can't even.
Bryan Cranston.
Wrong.
No,
Full
what
through
the
because
fuck?
he has a much better
You're just
position
saying
in the
that.
MCU.
You're just saying that, Tyler. That's stupid. That was a stupid joke.
That was
You're
poor.
a stupid joke.
Yeah.
That was poor. Let me bring it to your real talk. I think, honestly, just because he's charming and a little bit terrifying, there are one or two names that come to light that could be Doom, but it's a hard choice because putting this character behind a mask, you kind of almost want to cast somebody kind of ugly. I hate to be a cunt
George
about
Clooney.
it. John Hamm
Okay.
Okay.
or Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
See,
No.
I don't.
No, I'm not feeling
I don't
that.
think-
I
don't
relate
think
both
JDM
those
would
to
work.
Batman.
Really? Well, I mean, I guess JDM has had his fill of comic book roles, but I think if you give him that softer touch and the more maniacal thing,
I got one.
and it's okay.
What about the guy from The Watchmen? He played what, Prometheus? Is that what his name was?
Ozymandias.
Ozymandias. What if it was him?
I'd be okay with that.
I don't know who that is. I mean, I don't know who
I don't remember
played
his
him.
name
Yeah.
either. But what about? What about?
I like as a casting.
Yeah,
That's a
I
great
had his
casting.
name, and then he brought up Ozymandias, and then I forgot what I was gonna say.
Damn.
What about?
Oh man, Dick will know. What about the guy that played DeVoe as Von Doom?
Ooh.
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 Oh, Bryan Cranston! Oh,
You just
wasn't
wish Tom
Bryan
Hardy was half
Cranston.
as good as an actor.
Oh,
It's Bryan
you're pushing my buttons, pal.
Don't call me pal, buddy.
Boy,
The guy who played DeVoe, maybe.
Like, think about when he's in his like professor.
yeah,
like-
yeah, and that's what I'm
Not
seeing.
not when he's super psychotic, but just the professor side of him.
Yeah,
Lawrence
that's what I'm
Fishburne.
seeing.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
It's still a big maybe. Still a big maybe.
Okay. I don't know.
what about Liam fucking Neeson?
Ooh,
As Doctor Doom.
Fuck yeah, why not?
I'm into it.
Make it Scottish Doom.
What about Henry Cavill?
Henry Cavill.
Whatever. I don't
Why do you
fucking-
say his name?
Yeah,
like
you've
you know
always done that.
It's Cavill.
Whatever. Fuck
You
it.
say
know,
all the fucking
You know who
names
the
weird.
fuck I'm talking about.
Like he's got a gavel.
No, I couldn't do Henry Cavill as Doctor Doom. Too big. I want a guy that is average enough that I don't instantly perceive him as a threat.
And smart enough to know when to shave his fucking mustache.
Bam.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh.
Get out.
So there's Ozymandias.
Yeah, I think he could do it for sure. Ooh, here's one for you. Jude fucking Law.
You can't though.
I know, but you could.
No, but you can't.
But you
though.
could.
Just
But you
like we can't get Steve Ogg or whatever. Or
Trevor.
Walton Goggin. That's what I was saying.
Walton God. Oh man.
To play fucking Carnage.
Yeah, that's who needed to play Carnage.
Yeah,
That's
correct.
who needed. That is who needed to play Carnage.
Look at this beautiful, genuine segue. Let's ride upon it. Yeah.
Okay,
let's talk about
no,
that stinker
real
of a
quick,
Venom
we need
movie.
to
You do this.
No.
You do this a lot.
Venom is a
no,
shit
we're
movie,
moving on.
and that post-credit scene sealed the deal for me.
Dang
We're
it.
moving on.
I thought my segue was good, but everybody hated it. Fuck you, Nate.
Okay, guys. So, I spent all of my time today listening to your lovely voice. Don't smile. It's okay. I listened to your lovely voice as well.
Hey.
As I drove here and as I did my dishes and as I showered and washed my balls. All those things. It's true.
Glad you did that today.
At the same
It's
time.
true. I was listening to Podcastrophe because I was listening to your guys' amazing review of Venom. Both the spoiler-free review on 212 and the non-spoiler-free review that you guys did on your episode, which was, I think, 58. Even the losers.
Yep. Nice Tom Petty reference. I put in
Yeah,
there.
they get lucky sometimes. However, Venom is not one of those times. I can't wait for Tyler to retort in this at some point because I stated my opinion on the show on JIC this past week, and what I thought in the movie was, well, quite simply, some things met my expectations. How Venom looked, sure, thumbs up. Everything else, no, please no. Like, it was just vapid. The movie was vapid, and maybe I've seen too many Oscar flicks. Maybe I've spent too many times diving into the backstories of characters I really love and searching out the comics that they actually originated in and learning about the actual origins of these characters. That didn't do it for me. And there were some things that are forgivable. Sure, with what Sony has to work with, that's a passable movie. You can't say it's not. It's a passable film. But you can't also say that Marvel wouldn't do that whole movie of like 40 million times better and have soul and spirit. And the most important part, the reason that symbiotes even exist at all in Marvel, Spider-Man Secret Wars. That's it. He's about to retort, and I'm so excited.
He got his can of Heritage out, and he's dipped in.
First off, I'm going to ask Blaine if I have permission to speak.
Oh.
You have the floor.
Thank you. Secondly, I'm going to say part of what you just expositioned, I totally agree with you. What I don't agree with is you have to look at what Sony has done previous as far as Spider-Man, as far as Venom. You have to say, okay, we've had Venom on the silver screen before.
Bad.
And it was awful.
Topher Grace, it was worse. I 100% agree.
Part of the reason that I shit on that role so much, and I don't defend it, but at the same time I feel like I should, because Topher Grace was typecast, but he was typecast into a role that wasn't Eric Foreman to begin with. So Eddie Brock is not Eric Foreman.
That was the most well-said fucking segue setup, by the way.
Topher Grace is typecast as Eric Foreman.
100%.
Okay? You have someone who's typecast, and then you put them in a role that is 180 degrees the opposite of Eric Foreman.
Correct.
Eddie Brock is not Eric Foreman.
Not even close.
So you put Topher Grace in that role, and you say, okay, do your thing. And I think if the writing would have been a little bit better, Topher Grace could have done Eddie Brock. Not big, beefy, burly, bro Eddie Brock, but he could have performed, he could have delivered a good performance for the role.
Almost like a nerfed Eddie Brock,
Yes.
essentially. Oh, and then that creates...
Maybe cancer Eddie Brock. Like he is,
yes, thank
he is
you.
shriveled, and
that's what I'm talking
he is
about.
a shell of his former self, okay?
I don't know if that version of Eddie Brock existed at that point.
Yes, actually, the original version of Eddie Brock has cancer,
Yes.
and he's dying from the jump. It's a part of the symbiote's reason to keep him living.
Yep.
And to go into that, I think that's one thing, and I mentioned this on JIC, I want to get your guys' actual live opinion. Do you think that they didn't give him the big C in this movie because Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool had the big C in a previous superhero movie? And it's like, why do superheroes all get cancer? Is cancer how you get superpowers?
I think yes, and I also think because
L cancer,
yeah, and his Ryan Reynolds charity Fuck Cancer, which is being renamed Fudge Cancer for a limited time only.
Fudge Cancer.
Ryan Reynolds didn't come up with Fuck Cancer.
It doesn't matter.
That's been around for a while.
It doesn't matter. He's the spokesperson for it right now. So
currently, yeah.
I have the floor. I had to enjoy that for a moment.
That was great.
Every now and then I have to be mean to Blaine. I always feel bad when I am, but every now and then I have to do it.
He doesn't really feel bad, folks. Don't let him bullshit
legitimately. When
Really?
I'm like Blaine is one of the few people that's like my best friends. I am mean to my best friends all the time. He is one of the only ones that I legitimately feel bad for being mean to.
Totally.
So,
Baxter, you fat piece of shit. Get off his bag, bro.
no,
Come on.
you fucking shit on that bag.
He can sit on it.
But
Okay.
she can sit on it.
Oh, that's what.
Anyway, so back to Venom. I think they didn't give him the big C, L cancer itself, for a lot of reasons, because there's so much emphasis on, especially in the beginning of the film, symbiote bonding with the host. Okay, that's it. And then towards the end of the movie, well, if the symbiote isn't being satisfied, it kills you. So it is essentially the cancer.
Okay,
it doesn't.
I like the
fully,
metaphor for it.
It doesn't
I do
fully make sense, but that's how I justified it in my mind.
I see that.
I do too, because you think about the first homeless guy that gets kind of fed to the symbiote, and it fucking wrecks him
immediately,
and he just gets like ripped in half and whatnot. Like there's no connection there, and he just takes from the inside and then leaves the host. I think that with Venom, I feel like this movie left me going, why the fuck do you want me to care about the narcissist Eddie Brock? And that's where the lack of a disease or something killing him or a reason to feel empathy at all for him did not help me in this movie. So there was never, and I'm being so genuine here, there's never a part when I'm watching Venom, and to go back to your review on 58, you said at the end of the movie when Venom sacrifices himself for Eddie, essentially, the hair on your arm is raising, and it's just like it hit you in the feels, which I understand. I've had that happen a lot in different movies and different times and whatnot. There was never a point in this movie where I was invested enough in Eddie Brock because they didn't give me enough to be invested in. He got what he deserved. He was shitty to his girlfriend. He stole from her. He cost her job. He cost him his own job.
Which she surely got back because she's a successful lawyer. But not maybe with the same law firm, but with a law firm in New York City.
Sure, but you're still having to start over and pick up the pieces because of this idiot making a mistake.
Right.
And he still never atones for that sin either, and she still helps him throughout the movie.
So I think part of what would help you appreciate this film a little bit more, which helped me, detach yourself from comic book Eddie Brock.
Okay.
And just attach yourself to animated series Spider-Man Eddie Brock.
Ooh, now you're playing a different fiddle on my heart.
Okay, wait a minute. At what point in animated series Spider-Man did Eddie Brock have cancer?
I actually don't think they don't give him cancer,
They
right?
don't.
That's one of the things but of course
he
in
was
94,
just a big jock meathead
who
that hated
worked
Peter Parker
at the Daily and fucked up and got fired and thought that it was Parker's fault and blamed him. And I mean, and to talk about this, one thing you mentioned on your guys' review, you talk about the origin of Venom and how the symbiote leaving Parker going direct to Eddie. In the comics, that is not the case. That only happened in the animated series.
Correct. Yeah, we were just pointing out strictly the animated series because for the general public, for the majority general public, people recognize what happened in animated series Batman,
first,
animated series Spider-Man, because for a lot of people, especially Secret Wars, that was the first time that they saw Secret Wars.
Yeah.
They didn't read it
in the comics.
On paper, they saw it on TV.
Oh, man, reading it on paper is rough. It's a rough read, folks. We did it.
But animated series Secret Wars was fantastic.
Totally.
And for people like myself who didn't read Secret Wars until long after I saw the animated series, it made me appreciate what the animated series was that much more because I thought it was so well done. Seeing Spidey work with the Lizard, and I mean, all kinds of characters that's like, whoa, this fucking makes sense.
Yeah, they did it good. I guess the guise of thinking about it only in the animated series vision is going to change my second. Well, now it'll be my third watch through. The first one I fell asleep in. Sorry, Venom, not sorry, but I wasn't into it. I couldn't connect because I was waiting for them to do something comic book related, like from that actual origin of Venom,
right,
to hook me, and they didn't. And now you're saying that when you watched it, your appreciation for this movie and the reason you give it an 8 comes from, well, the animated series.
Absolutely.
As you just said. I'm a huge fan of the Spidey animated series, and I mean, like pointing out the subtle difference between the comic and animated versions. I think I need to rewatch this movie with the goggles of like if this was direct sequel from what they had to work with from the animated series.
You kind of, and the reason I brought this up is because in your review of Venom, you kind of pointed it out with the Jameson being the astronaut that brings back the symbiote.
That's animated series.
Dead on. At the very beginning of the film, as I'm starting to critique it,
never even looked at it like that.
As I'm starting to critique it, I was at a T in the road. I turned left, and I judged this film based on what happened in the comics, which I am thoroughly more well-versed than Blaine in.
Yeah.
Not near as well-versed as you, but I'm better than the average bear.
I 100% appreciate that, yeah.
And then you turn right, and you just compare it to the animated series.
I know what I'm doing when I get home.
And then it makes and then I think you appreciate it a little bit more. And I also at the same time, Blaine and I going into this film, we agreed that the PG-13 rating was just to see if Venom could fit into MCU Spider-Man. That's ultimately what this was a test for. We agreed on that before we saw the film.
Yeah.
I like that, but I say, and I said that in my review, that the one big failure, you can have PG-13 and still have a little bit of blood.
Right.
And the fact that there was zero blood from decapitated bodies. Come on. Like, listen, we're in 2018. It's not the era of 1994 that we all grew up in where, like, gore and blood was seen as extreme and totally violent, and we're going to go out tomorrow and fucking kill kids with knives in the streets. That's not where we're at now.
And I can't take that I can't take that away and or argue with it because I totally agree.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say, and it would be me like way going out on a limb to defend the film.
Sure.
Maybe the symbiote just fucking sucked up all the blood.
Okay. I'm going to ask another question.
I mean, that's going...
I see where...
Understand, that's me going way
that
out
was
on a
you
limb.
swinging on a fucking foul ball, right? Okay,
yes.
I get you. But I'm going to ask a totally different question coming from a different angle. Sure, the blood thing. Whatever. Let it be forgiven. The symbiote takes it in. That's cool. Actually, I kind of like it because then it's like the symbiote was feeding off of the person, right? What the fuck is going on with how the symbiote takes over a person? That is not how it ever happened in the comic series, in the TV series, in any video game. When a fucking symbiote takes over a person, it covers their entire outer body and becomes what they're going to become. It doesn't suck into their chest first and then overtake them.
Right.
That's a confusing thing for me because, and maybe that's just because they were trying to make it seem more parasitic, I guess. Mm-hmm. But it just seemed a little sour note.
I think
it's an okay solo, but there's some sour notes in this movie.
I think they went a little bit John Carpenter's The Thing with it, where the symbiote is actually bonding with the host at a cellular level and not a physical level.
Okay.
Is where and again, that's me kind of swinging at the foul ball. That's me trying to justify it.
But it makes more sense. See,
to me, it makes the most sense that way.
You're giving me an opportunity to visualize it a little bit differently.
Especially when scientists that no one in their right mind could remember her name, Tom Hardy's pseudo-friend with the Life Foundation, is looking at blood under a microscope. You see the symbiote interacting with blood cells on that microscope slide. So in my mind, I instantly say, okay, they're bonding. The symbiote is bonding with you on a cellular level, i.e., 1984 John Carpenter's The Thing. Mm-hmm. And then eventually, it either eats you by,
incompatibility.
Yep. Or you don't satiate said symbiote enough that it starts to devour you on a cellular level. Where is the highest concentration of cells in your body? Your major organs, which are constantly being repaired.
And they bring that up in the movie.
Yes.
Good point, because he talks about how he's going to eat Eddie's liver.
Yeah.
Your liver looks delicious, Eddie.
Yes.
So
that's...
This is fucking fresh in my mind, you guys. Like, I just watched this
That's how
the other
I
day,
justified it. I mean, Blaine might think a little bit differently, but I've only seen the film once.
Okay.
And that was night number 1.
Sure, and that's been 2 months ago.
2 months ago.
Credit.
That was how I justified it. Some issues that I had with the film were definitely the blur that you pointed out.
That one
Especially-
fucking motorcycle sequence between the two cars. I'm sorry, he was a floating head.
Yeah,
It's bad.
That sequence was bad. And I think Blaine and I agreed going into the film that as we were watching trailers building up to the movie, that was kind of the one trailer sequence that we were like,
Yeah.
like, Why
like, ooh, another chase
do
scene.
Why
so
do we need
what?
a Fast and the Furious chase scene in
Yeah.
a Venom movie?
You didn't.
I just want to see Venom bite people more.
Oh, I lost. I'm not on the motorcycle anymore. Whoa!
And that's kind of how he yelled in the movie too, which made me hate it a little bit. But as far as
Did you guys ever watch that video of like Tom Cruise's weird scream from The Mummy inserted into other videos? And
no, because I never watched The Mummy. So
no, I didn't either.
No,
but, it's
but I never
fucking
watched
funny.
The Mummy, so I didn't want to see anything Mummy related.
Oh,
because I'm a stalwart
But
defend Brandon Fraser. in the
Whoa,
movie.
I was sitting here going, what the fuck is he talking about? Tom Cruise is not the Mummy. I totally forgot they did the reboot.
Yeah, it's
that
okay.
happened.
That's
Holy
okay
shit.
that you forgot that.
Yeah, it was
A lot
terrible.
of people
Whoa.
forgot that.
Okay, so listen,
Brandon
this game,
Fraser, only Mummy movies that matter.
this game that we're playing right now about Venom is like chess, and I'm about to bring yet another chess piece move because I want to know what your thoughts and how you're going to explain this one. Riot is allegedly your strongest symbiote, okay? These few get onto the ship, onto the shuttle, Jameson shuttle. That makes sense. The Life Foundation then takes a hold of them.
So as of the lab sequence, you have Venom in Tom Hardy.
Yep.
You have Riot
In Riz Ahmed.
in
Well,
in
he's
Child
actually in
slash Raz
the
Ahmed.
Chinese lady, and then on the way to Child.
And then you have you would say Scream,
the yellow,
which is Scream,
symbiote.
I believe.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then the purple one, which is Nasher, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember back
You're
to
correct.
The symbiote squad, as I like to call them.
James
So-
Gunn should direct that.
What?
What?
James Gunn
should direct
James
that.
Gunn should fucking direct
I
the
thought you
symbiote
just.
squad.
I thought he
Symbiote
totally
squad.
just Kurt Cobain marble in his mouth. That he's like,
Segue.
that.
No, I have had like a really bad problem slurring my words and shit lately.
He's got like
It's like I'm having mini strokes
You
like constantly.
Damn
I had
drunkard.
that for a while. You and I need to talk about that after the show.
Oh.
So I'll help you fix that.
Got to jerk off more regularly.
So prior to the movie, you and I talked about how much we're going to see the rest of the symbiote squad, and if
They'll play any major factor.
Riot is actually going to be a child of Venom, like he was supposed to be.
A spawn, yeah.
Yep,
Mhm.
and you know,
And you know what? I'll even forgive them for that, for making them all different symbiotes, because that is character development.
Mm-hmm.
It creates an interesting thing. You can do cool colors. I get it for marketing purposes. That's all fine.
well, and especially if you look at the comics where Riot is involved, Riot was half-ass created in a lab.
Mm-hmm.
So
He's essentially like the genetic mutation of experimentation of
Yes.
fucking symbiotes.
So-
and that's why he's so fucking angry.
So to go down
Big.
that
He's a
that
dick.
road,
He's really big.
Oh, he is really big.
I mean, to go down that road, how much story? I mean, how much you would have to write into the movie for that to make sense? I mean, you would have to add, I think, a substantial amount of runtime,
About another 35 minutes at least.
at least to justify that. Especially you add the other two symbiotes in on top of that. I like the direction, and I stand by what I said in our initial kind of two-part review. I like the direction that they took Riot. Maybe not so much the direction that they took Venom as far as him being the loser.
That one bothers me, and
But-
you guys talked about it on your show.
But at the same time, I also appreciated it because it made me look at Eddie Brock in a little bit different way. He wasn't the dumb brute that he was in the animated series. He was a
it wasn't cancer-ridden like the comics.
Yep, it was it was a slightly more pathetic brute. Not dumb,
Pathetic, though, is a good man.
makes really, really poor choices.
The narcissist in him is his downfall.
Absolutely.
Actually, that's
So,
okay.
So I accepted that,
Sure.
especially when it came to Riot, because then it was Riot is the typical dumb Eddie Brock. I am the alpha male. You are going to do what I say, Peter Parker, because I'm bigger than you. To Venom. So that, in my mind, was how, okay, let's draw a little bit of parallel with Spider-Man here without drawing parallel to Spider-Man.
Okay.
That's how it made sense to me.
So, on my closing argument about this is the last little point that I just couldn't get over in the movie. You have a comet with 1 million symbiotes. You have Riot, Venom, and these few that make their way to Earth. Riot takes over all these things to get ultimately to the host he knows he needs.
Mm-hmm.
And his goal is to go back to the comet and then bring the rest of these symbiotes back. How did they not figure out how the fuck to get back on their own if there's a million of them and these few broke through? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like,
did they break through, or did Jameson and the rest of the astronauts capture them?
well, and there's my big argument. Why are they not telling me this in their story? This is the vapid thing that I came back to. They don't give me enough. It's almost the Batman versus Superman symptom of the relegating things to one-liners that you might miss fucks you. Because, first of all, partially deaf. So if I miss a single line of dialogue and it's your big crux of why things work in the movie, it's going to fuck me.
Okay.
I have to have substance there. And they don't ever give me substance of how and why Jameson went and how and why.
Well, but you understand why Jameson went.
Well, yeah.
Because the
he's
Life
there
Foundation is exploring space.
to try to find new planets.
Yes.
I mean, kind of.
At least that
But
part
it's-
you can agree that they explain thoroughly in the film.
I mean, they do make that like the Life Foundation's goal, you know?
Which I don't think you need any more than that. Because that explains why this billionaire playboy philanthropist who's a fucking dickhead.
You're talking about Riz Ahmed again?
Yes.
Okay. You know, he also totally did the funny thing where this little girl asked to ask a question. He's like, sure, you can ask your question. And then she never asks a question.
Yep.
He just talks over her the whole time.
Yes. Total fucking dickhead.
Well,
I appreciated him as a villain, even though he's not one of my favorite actors in Hollywood. You know, he played the pilot in Rogue One, correct?
oh, yeah. He's the dude that's in the prison, right?
that gets,
the traitor. He's the traitor.
That gets fucking gulleted. So
Damn, that movie was so good.
Not a big fan of his, but I think as far as roles that I have seen him in, he portrays a villain well enough. As far as I'm a villain, but in my mind I'm not really a bad dude. I'm just trying to save humanity. Like, I get that. Like, he does a good job of that. So,
Did you just shimmy? He shimmied back.
Maybe I
you
did.
just
He
shook your
bebopped.
ass.
He bebopped
no,
Maybe
right on
I
back to
did.
that chair.
He totally shook his ass. I
So-
saw it.
I will continue to defend Venom for a lot of the reasons that I have. I also am intelligent and humble enough to concede a lot of the points that you have made.
Okay.
Cinematography, definitely weak.
No, hold on.
Just let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
I
Sure,
hammered
sure,
on
sorry.
Black Panther
Yep.
for a lot of reasons.
Which you should.
I can't, in good conscience, hammer on Black Panther for those reasons and then not also call out Venom, a movie that I enjoyed more for the same reasons.
Okay.
Because they were there. They were there hands down.
But I think, and I'm gonna be kind of on your side here. This is totally ass backwards. I know this how it all works though. Cinematography wise, Venom does a better job overall, and the problems are less frequent.
Yes.
That is one thing I will totally give to Venom. Overall, how they shot the movie, they do a much better job of not giving me motion blur, which is a big issue in modern movies with the 4K. I don't know why they can't hammer down. Maybe they're trying to pan too fast and doing it CGI-wise or whatever.
It's a combination of a
But
lot of things.
I think that I want to watch Venom again. I have it. I have an opportunity to watch it tonight. I've got nothing going on when I drive home. I want to watch it, though, like I said, with that lens because you played the fiddle on my heart because the animated series is near and dear to me. That show is where my extreme love and obsession with Spider-Man was birthed.
Well, in my mind, and you might disagree a little bit, being the one that's a little bit more well-versed in the comics than myself, in my mind, the animated series is the best window that we've ever looked at Spider-Man through.
I absolutely agree.
Because it had a little bit of everything. You got to see every major villain. You got to see Madam Spider. You got to see Spider-Man alter egos. You got to see alternate dimension Spider-Mans. You got to see Secret Wars. You got to see so many different things.
I mean, I could go down the list and name. I mean, they as you're saying, as far as the Rogues Gallery is concerned, they touch on near every single villain. I mean, Carnage, Shocker, Mysterio, Vulture, to answer your question from the show, this is months later, but Hydro Man.
Yeah.
Hydro Man is the villain who's made of water that you spoke upon.
Yeah.
Who actually first debuted in Amazing Spider-Man 212. Super
Craven,
nerd.
Morbius,
Yes.
Mysterio.
Oh my God, yes. And talking about Mysterio with what's coming from
Jake
Far From Home,
Gyllenhaal, yep.
it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited for that. I agree with you though. I think that the Spider-Man, the 94 animated series or 92?
I was going to say
90.
93 and meet it in the middle, but I think we could be wrong on either way.
I can't. I don't remember. It's been a long time. Maybe the R&D department wants to look that up. I don't know. You don't have to. But I just think that Venom, through the guise of the Amazing Spider-Man universe, through the animated universe, is going to give me a better appreciation for the movie overall.
94.
94. Okay. Wow. That's interesting.
First episode date, November 19th, 1994.
So, kind of my closing thoughts to build upon your closing thoughts.
Sure.
One of the reasons that I appreciated this film so much, and I'm a little bit biased because Venom is my favorite character.
And I'm aware of that.
Venom is my favorite villain. Hulk is my favorite hero. They're kind of the same character. If you go into modern Venom, he's a big hulking dude that just smashes shit.
More if you go into their power set, I think, is the way to look at it.
Yeah.
Not because they're definitely two totally different entities, but there are a few power sets. They're brooding Hulkish.
They like
characters.
to smash stuff.
Yes,
they're smashing shit. Right, Blaine?
Yes.
Smash.
Blaine smash.
Yes.
Okay. I still have the floor.
Smash.
But so in my going into the film, I thought I was going to be ultra critical, so I was a little bit biased.
Yeah.
Which changed my opinion a little bit.
See, and I think
because
I went
love the character so much.
Yeah, that you gave it a chance.
That I gave it a chance.
I honestly expected you to be hypercritical.
See, and I was where he's at. I was built-in hypercritical because of my obsession of the character, because I was looking at it through the guise of like knowing the backstory, going through the history of the character. I mean, Venom is older than me.
Right.
Created in 1984, by a fucking fan who got paid $300 and shit on by Todd McFarlane and company, who stole the character and created this huge entity, ultimately that spawns out. One thing to note, there were rumors that the Venom movie was going to kind of be like Lethal Protector, the first solo Venom book. It wasn't. There were not really any scenes.
I mean, you got a little bit of that anti-hero vibe, but definitely not the same.
But I'm more meaning they were quoting in their press runs that was their source material, and there's none of it. I mean, not an ink of any of the panels from that in there. So maybe they were looking somewhere else, but like
maybe they were just riding the hype train.
Lethal Protector 1 ends in time travel. They fall through fucking time. So
right.
I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. But I have to give this movie a second chance. I still, as of right now, don't like it, but I think I've given deeper, more valid reasons to why I said some of the things I said, and didn't mean to flame you guys on JSC.
No.
So
I was
nothing but love.
I was just giving you a hard time yesterday. But
throwing all those Rotten Tomatoes, I loved it.
My closing thought is everyone that listens to this show, every one of my friends, everyone in our podcasting group knows that I hate origin stories. Just use the source material that is there, that is the foundation, and just pretty much pick up where that source material is and just fucking write me a story and do a good job.
Yep.
And that's all I need. I don't need to see the fucking origin of Iron Man, because in my mind, Iron Man and Thor are two of the fucking worst movies ever made. You could not pay me to watch those films right now, because I won't do it.
Damn.
I watched the original Iron Man the other day.
I'll watch
It wasn't bad.
It was boring.
I dug that one.
My buddy, not the Cody. Actually, you met other Cody.
Yeah, I did.
The other, not Between the Buried and Me Cody, but other Cody.
Yeah.
Other Cody, we're taking him through the MCU, and we're almost there. We're only 4 movies away now. We just watched Spider-Man Homecoming this past week. But, like, taking him back through the journey, yeah, there are clunkers in the MCU. Yeah, there are some missteps in the MCU.
And we've talked enough about Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3. We don't even
You
need
could write
to
a
go
book
deep.
on that. We don't have to go deep on that. But I do want to say I really hope, and maybe this is wishing too much, Matt, I'm not sure what you think about this, but I really do hope that Marvel gets back Venom and that they can do it genuinely right.
I want Marvel to get back all of their IP.
Yeah.
I want them to get back all of their IP.
As of right now, the few stragglers from the Spider-Verse are the few stragglers they don't have all their IPs on now because they've gotten a more officially. They have when the deal.
They did get Ghost Rider back, correct?
100%.
Okay.
Free and clear.
So to finally close up what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
As far as origin stories go, if you have to detach Venom from Spider-Man and write Spider-Man in later on, I think that this is at least the best attempt that we're going to get anytime soon. If it's anyone other than Marvel, this is the best that we're going to get. And I'm okay with that.
Here's how prepared for you I am. I actually thought about this scenario. Like, okay, Venom, the movie I watched that I'm not happy with, has to be the basis with which we bring Venom into the MCU. What do I do? Okay, well, he left New York. He lost his job in San Francisco. All this shit with Venom happened. What's he want to do? He wants to go home. Eddie Brock returns to New York. He gets a job back at his OG stomping grounds, the Globe. He eventually the Bugle. Then he kind of butts heads with Parker, who's just starting to get his comeuppance and start in the Bugle. This is our introduction to J. Jonah Jameson. And behind the scenes at the same time, Eddie is using Venom to fucking figure out what the fuck Parker's deal is because he feels off about him.
Right.
Therein lies
He gets a vibe.
your
He gets a
twist. Your twist. And here we go. Parker as Spider-Man shows up. Now it's not Parker. And he's like, wait, what? I was sensing Parker. You're not Parker. Or are you? There's the reveal, and the whole movie is cat and mouse. Eddie knows about his...
I like it.
Eddie knows about the truth about Parker. Parker is starting to kind of piece it together what Eddie is. But the movie is only cat and mouse because the symbiote leaves Eddie. He thinks Eddie's a loser. He's like, wow, this kid's actually really talented.
Yep.
He beat my ass.
This kid's got
And
shit that Eddie doesn't have.
He goes and becomes Black Suit Spidey, and then Eddie is just full-blown loser. And you can have a totally different villain through the majority of the movie, but Eddie's always in the background. Go to the bell tower. Eddie's going to kill himself because he's found out about the cancer.
Yep.
At the same time, Parker is recognizing that he can't be a part of the black suit because, like you said, he can't be all three. He can't be Pete, Spidey, and the symbiote.
Yep.
It doesn't work that way. The bell tower rings. It falls on Eddie. Eddie becomes Venom again, but now he's emblazoned with the spider, and now he's fucking pissed at Peter.
Yep.
And that's the end of the movie. So then you set up the future for them to actually go to war.
That's what I thought.
And it means
Spider-Man-
something.
That's what I thought Spider-Man 3
Should have been.
Should have been.
Yep.
Totally.
We all agree on that.
Because there were too many villains. That's what that movie suffered
Too many
from.
cooks in the
I
kitchen.
thought Spider-Man 3 should have led into Spider-Man 4, which would have been
Carnage.
Venom. No,
Fucking
Venom.
actually, Spider-Man 4 was going to be John Malkovich being the Vulture.
Yeah.
Genuinely. He was already pre-cast. They already had
Interesting.
pre-production. And with Tobey Maguire,
they have a script
they had a
already?
script and everything. It was going to come
Spider-Man
out in
4
2000.
should be Venom.
I want to say it was going to come out in like 2009 or something, 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there. And then it, of course, gets shelved. Amazing ends up getting into production. It comes out. Those are two totally separate conversations to have about movies. I will say they confirmed that Venom was going to be the official villain for the third Amazing Spider-Man movie, the Andrew Garfield's. He was going to, again, they were going to do it just like the last series.
Post credits in
Teased
Amazing
it.
Spider-Man 2,
And
they
them-
had Sinister Six.
And Venom, yeah, correct.
Sinister Six was supposed to get its own film.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Which I think
obviously.
it might actually be in talks about, again, to
Well,
get its own film.
it's funny because every time there is a new property that gets brought up that Sony's developing a movie for, it gets dropped. They were going to do Black Cat and Silver Sable, canceled. Not happening now. The Morbius movie with Jared Leto, right now it's happening. If it goes to production, I'll be shocked, genuinely. But that's all I have for nerding out. Dick, you had an article pulled up that I need to know more about, my good sir. And I actually have one more topic to bring up before we get out of here that involves something happening in Lafayette this very Sunday or Saturday. I don't know what day it is.
I don't have the article pulled up because I didn't think we were going to get to it.
Shit.
Is it the Burger King one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Burger King.
Okay, so Burger King right now is offering fans or customers the option,
The consumer.
the consumer, to purchase a Whopper for 1 penny if you order a Whopper through the Burger King app inside of McDonald's.
You know what's fucked up? You couldn't pay me a penny to eat a Whopper. I hate Whoppers. I think they're
man,
disgusting.
Whoppers are good, man.
Big Mac for life, bro.
You know,
I'll see your Big Mac and I'll raise you a Big King. Come on with it.
Big Kings aren't as good, and their Thousand Island sauce is a knockoff that's not quite Big Mac sauce. Big Mac's the original. Ray Kroc, suck it.
Take that middle. He fucking stole McDonald's from the McDonald's brothers.
So last week, speaking of, that's a good movie.
Yeah. Oh, Founder.
Take the middle bun. Take the middle bun out of the Big Mac, and it's delicious.
You know what's funny?
Order a triple cheeseburger, add Mac sauce to it. It'll change your life.
Dude, I worked at McDonald's for 4 years, and that's one of the things I secretly did would make a triple cheese.
I've avoided
Mac.
McDonald's burgers for years because they just sucked for so long.
Okay.
Last week, I was on my way home from Menards. And
big money at Menards.
when you buy a house, you need things.
Dick is about to be...
Did you know you need things if you buy a house?
Yeah, do you want to know something funny? Dick is about to go through the transformation that I'm sure you went through. I went through it, that when you start to have to care for a home, when you go to Menards, you start to enjoy yourself. Like, oh my God, they've got these fucking futuristic door handles that you can unlock from your fucking cell phone now? What the fuck?
Oh, that's everywhere. I'm about to get one from Best Buy.
See, I told you.
As soon as I get
exactly.
a new door that has a deadbolt. So I'm at Menards. Just a tangent from my tangent. I'm at Menards, and I'm just like, oh man, I want to check this out, and I want to check this out, and I want to check this out.
Fucking mailboxes are cool.
Fucking mailboxes.
Gonna go get some screws.
Anyway, so I asked Miranda, I was like, hey, do you want any food? I'm on my way home. I was just there to get dryer ventilation tube, and
like a collapsible
toilet paper.
one?
Yeah, and toilet paper. That's all I was there to get.
Get your toilet paper at Sam's Club. Save you a bunch of money.
Didn't want to drive over there.
Okay, that's fair.
And I was already going to be at Menards.
I don't shop at Menards. I hate that store.
I know you do. So I was like, hey, do you want anything? And I was thinking...
Kinda.
Depot.
Kinda. Both.
But I was thinking, okay, I think I'm going to stop at McDonald's. She goes, yeah, McDonald's is fine. I was like, what do you want? She asked for a double cheeseburger. I was looking. I saw the double quarter pounder. And I'm like, that.
I need that meat in my life.
I said that.
Sometimes
I'm
it
getting
really
a burger.
do be like that.
And you know, they've really upped their burger game. Now that they're using fresh patties.
Wendy's is still better, but
yeah, I was about to say I'm getting Wendy's tonight. When
absolutely, absolutely.
I can't have McDonald's. I was at my dad's house like a month and a half ago visiting. I hadn't been home for like several months. Ate McDonald's, and at 4 a.m, I projectile vomited McDonald's. And let me tell you.
Ooh.
If you ever want to not eat McDonald's,
that's definitely less than
do
ideal.
that. Because let me tell you, return on the cheeseburger coming back out my mouth and nose made me never want to have McDonald's.
If I eat McDonald's, if I eat McDonald's, I have to shit within 20 minutes of eating.
Whoa!
Projectile vomiting is really a good way to not want to do something ever again. I mean, like I'll never want to play Edward 40 Hands again.
Is that because you projectile vomited, or because you projectile vomited and shit at the same time?
I did not I projectile vomited first,
and then shat.
That was what
down
started
the
it
wall.
all. No, that did not happen.
No.
Projectile vomited happening.
I shit on a cat.
So I went in, finished throwing up, cleaned up what I could. I was handed a new set of clean clothes via my friend Alan. Then, after a little water's drank, I said, man, I have to throw up again. I knew it was coming. So I went to the bathroom. I throw up. As I'm sitting there, worshiping the porcelain god, I said, man, I really think I have to shit right now. So I wipe my face off, pull my pants down, and I shit in the toilet. What happens next? I'm sitting there for 20 minutes, just, drunk. And then I'm like, man, I have to throw up again.
Didn't think to flush in that 20-minute time frame, did you?
No.
Motherfucker.
That's completely
irrelevant.
Irrelevant. So I'm like, man, I gotta throw up again. So I wipe my ass, pull my pants up. I turn around to throw up more. Instead of throwing up, I dry heave. And every heave that I make, causes shit to come from my bowels.
It's like a mud gun.
It was exactly that. A fucking mud gun. And next thing I know, I have a pile of shit on the floor because it overflowed from my shorts.
Damn.
There was so much shit.
I shit in a bucket once when I was really drunk, and I apparently left it there for my friend to clean up.
Why are we having this conversation?
Andrew.
Nice.
Okay.
That's a story for a
He
different
puked up a
podcast.
whole biscuit.
I did. Have you heard the biscuit story? Do I need to tell the biscuit story?
I don't think it's been told on this show.
Oh, man. Okay. You know what's cool is we're on live stream, so they're going to get to see me act it out because it's way funnier if I'm moving
I didn't
and
get
grooving.
this.
So, Nate has a really bad bout of bronchitis. I'm one of 3 managers at GameStop. If you know anything about GameStop, it needs 2 managers a day, which means you only get 1 day a week off. You're working the grind, right? So I'm working 7 straight days with bronchitis, no time to go to the doctor, no time off, and I'm barely able to talk. I'm literally picking up the phone. You know, people are like, what the fuck are you saying, man? Like, what? Did you say something about McDonald's? I'm not sure. Like, are we ordering sandwiches right now?
It's like that Dane Cook joke with the fucking ordering the food.
Yeah, it's kind of like with the sweet and sour sauce.
Sweet sour sauce. Give me the sweet sour sauce.
So I get my 21-and-a-half-year-old self gets the bright idea. Alcohol is cleansing. I'll just go get tequila and I'll get drunk as fuck, and that'll clear my bronchitis up because it'll just eat all that bronchitis away because science. That makes sense.
Because science.
That's exactly where my brain was. So I'm like, all right. So at the time I lived in this little fucking apartment. And
It's Breaking Bad quote, by the way.
Yep. Nice Breaking Bad quote, bitch. Okay. So across the street was a liquor store. So I literally just have to walk across this busy intersection street and go to the liquor store. Before I leave, my roommate, he goes, hey, man, what are you doing? And I'm like, I gotta go to the liquor store and get some tequila. And he goes, well, you get me some too, but like get me a flavored one, like orange. That'd be really cool. And I was like, oh, I think they have Jose Cuervo. Well, I was actually like, hey, go get orange, okay. So I get my shit together, grab the money. I walk down, I grab the fucking booze. I pay for them 2 bottles of Jose Cuervo, and I'm walking out the door like I'm fucking Jolly Saint Nick with 2 bottles, 1 in each hand, just da-da-da. Walk back into the apartment. And I start, I need to do I can't do the high voice. I have to remember that I was low voice at that time. I'm just in my excited story mode. So I get to the house, and this is like a month after I've had a cell phone. So I start doing shots of my tequila, which is just straight up Jose Cuervo, no flavor, just doing lime and salt. That's all you need. Be a fucking man. My roommate is in the kitchen with his friends, and they are doing Chaos Killers. You do a shot of the orange Jose Cuervo, and then you drink a shot of Monster Chaos. Okay, because it's like an orange thing. You're like building. So I'm sitting in there. I've had a couple of shots of my Jose Cuervo to myself. My throat's feeling a little bit okay. I've started to, for the first time in my life, drunk text people. And it's just friends and family. It's nothing like I didn't say anything about my dick or sending dick pics. I was just like, to my close friends, like, I just want you to know how much I love and appreciate you. You're like the greatest person. You know? So my buddy, roommate, he's, hey, man, come in here. We're going to do shot time. And I'm like, oh, shot time. Okay. So I go in there for 1. I'm thinking it's just 1. It's not a big deal. It's 1 shot time. I'm a man. I can do it. Have the shot, the Chaos Killer with them. I go back. Oh, there's my bottle of Jose Cuervo. Holy shit. I'm going to have another shot of my Jose Cuervo. I'm so excited. I've officially reached drunk, and I don't realize it. We're in the danger zone now because I'm in party mode. And I forgot that the throat hurts. I'm drunk texting people. And I'm happy. Roommate, shot time, run back in there, okay? Don't worry, the acting, the big stage set shit's coming in a minute. I got to do some running. It's very important to the story. So, I get drunk to the point that I pass out. Everyone in my house thinks I'm dead. Sarah, roommate, everyone. They're like, oh, he's going to fucking die. He drank too much and he's going to die. What do? We're going to make some fucking biscuits and feed it to him. I don't know whose idea that was, but they thought, put the biscuit in his stomach, science, bitch. And it'll soak up the alcohol, right? So apparently I eat these biscuits. I have no recollection. However, at 2 a.m, this is hours after the biscuits have been eaten by myself, I wake up in my living room. It's dark. TV's on. But that's it. Everyone's laying down. My eyes open wide. I'm going to stand up and do this while I walk around. I stand up. I like look around at everybody. And I just start fucking running. And I run all the way down the hall to my room. But from this wall to that wall, viewers can't see. It's probably like, what, 50 feet, if that? Yeah. I went from fully clothed to naked. And I was just running. So, like, I just was quickly like, woo, and yo, and just doing the whole thing. I get to the bed, and I crash face first, and I'm just ass up, straight, just laying on the bed, knocked out. And my roommate comes in, and he goes, hey, man, I just want you to know that if you need to puke, the puke bucket's right here next to the bed, man. We got you that puke bucket for your 21st birthday. It's right here. If you need it, you got it. Sarah comes to bed. Everything's cool. I fall asleep. Everything's normal. 4 a.m. I'm laying on my back. Something is inside of me, and I think it's a fucking alien. What the fuck? And it's moving slowly up my throat, and I'm not sure. And then I realize I have to fucking puke. Oh, no. The puke bucket, it's right there. So I stick my head in the bucket. And I'm just like, oh! And eventually, an unchewed biscuit, I swear to God, came out of my body. And I don't know how it got in my body.
A full unchewed biscuit.
Just picture you being like a fucking like snake.
Oh, dude, it was bad. So my roommate's egging me on the whole time. He's shaking the bucket with fucking liquid and this whole biscuit, and he's like, "Great job, buddy! Holy shit, you puked a whole biscuit." And I'm like, "Oh fuck! Oh good, oh good. I'm glad I did that." So I fall back. I fall back asleep. It's over. They clean up the puke biscuit. It's a great time. I wake up at 8 a.m. and I have to go to work. And I roll over and I look at Sarah, and her first words are, "Holy fuck, go into the fucking look in your eye!" And I'm like, okay, sure. So I walk into the fucking bathroom and I look, and my whole eye is blood. I had puked so hard, I broke every blood vessel under this eye and just had like, it looked like I was in a fucking fight. And of course, I went to work begrudgingly, and spoiler alert, the bronchitis was cured. That really happened. True story. And that's the time I puked a whole biscuit. The end.
I now know the cure for bronchitis.
No, you don't want that cure.
Tequila and biscuits.
Tequila and biscuits.
Tequila and biscuit.
Biscuit, yeah.
Singular.
Well, there were several biscuits, I'm sure, that went down, but only one came up. That's the terrifying thing.
Do you think they all formed together?
The one Voltron biscuit. Voltron biscuit episode title.
We got a myriad of fucking episode titles today.
I do want to say before we close that there's an event happening this Saturday that I have to hype.
Yeah, you do.
Nate Fest 4 motherfuckers happening at North End Pub. The Mound Builders unfortunately lost one of their members 4 years ago to cancer. And they do this event every year for him. We were honored to be a part of it and asked to be a part of it. Weed B is playing. Red Tail, Hate Song, Cavalcade. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, Walk Among Us. That's my thing. We're going to be there. We prepared a pretty cool set. We're playing some songs we've not yet played in Lafayette.
You want? So I made a suggestion for a cover for you guys to do the
Let's talk about it.
And the reason I made that suggestion was because, like, I was thinking, man, Nate Fest is on December 8th. You know what else is December 8th?
John Lennon and fucking Dimebag Darrell's assassination.
So I wanted to hear. I was like, man, I hope a bunch of bands that night play Pantera covers.
Well, funny you mentioned this because the gals and I talked about this, and I had said, like, it'd be really cool to do a Beatles song or, like, start a Beatles song and then, like, bleed it into a little bit of a Pantera song just as, like, a tribute thing. Obviously, we're not able to do that because it was just on too short notice. But while Floods is a great song, I think that Cemetery Gates fits our style better.
I think Floods fits your style better.
We listened to Floods and it bored us to tears as far as a band. I was like, if I have to sit there and drum those slow ass drums, I'm going to fall asleep.
I would compare it to your cover of How the Gods Kill.
Hey, nice. You got it right. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I would compare it to that if you guys did it.
Spoiler alert, we have new Danzig to debut in Lafayette this weekend.
Sweet.
Well, I mean, it's new for y'all. We've been playing it for a couple months now, but
I'm very excited for that show. Brian Bosner of the Mountain Builders, he's in my random band.
Oh, cool.
Which is
the next
following weekend.
Yeah.
You should be there.
The Random Band Challenge.
If you want to make yet another trip to Lafayette.
Too bad that we play a show at the Looney Bin. Womp,
Damn.
womp. We'll be in fucking Kankakee, Illinois. I don't know why I said Illinois. I'm from Illinois, and I've never said that until right this one second.
Fight Like Sin is the band you forgot.
Fight Like Sin.
Only
Thank you.
Human
Sorry.
commented.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know which Only Human member.
It was probably Puddin'.
Yeah, it's probably
my
Puddin'.
guess.
Human.
How is it that his never shows as Ryan, but only ever shows
what's
as Only
funny
Human?
is like right before that,
it shows that he joined.
Yeah.
Weird.
But he can't comment as himself.
That's very weird. No, but we're looking forward to the show, man. I hope you guys all come out and check out the Nate Fest 4. It's going to be popping off at the North End Pub on Saturday, December 8th at like 6 o'clock, I think.
So if you're listening, a couple more days. You got a couple more days.
If you're watching, even more days than that.
Yep. That's how that works. Time.
Yeah.
Puddin' says yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and then, of course, December 15th, the Random Band Challenge, also at North End Pub. I will be singing in band number 1 because we are number 1.
Because if you're not first,
you're last.
That is funny. It makes me laugh every time.
We came up with a new song last night. The song already existed for us, but I finally I was originally going to the song's so short, I was going to use it as like a break.
And you decided to add some shit.
And like Brian actually said, "Hey, what's that like hellbilly, like Death Billy song we're doing?" Because it's like a crossover song, and I'm like, Death Billy. So I came up with a song about a fucking like hillbilly that's like also like a death metal fan, but he's like coming after you.
That's awesome.
It's like Hills Have
It
Eyes.
was gonna be just a really pissed off Billy Goat.
Death Billy.
It's like some Hills Have Eyes shit.
But then the cover of the single for that song, Death Billy, is just the Blue Ranger hanging.
Slayer sucks.
Ooh.
That's the other band. They're called
yeah.
Slay.
Slayer. As well as Stone Death.
Stone Death and Mind Blizzard.
And spoiler alert, that awesome flyer.
Yeah.
Made by yours truly.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did it.
I wish you would have had one more thing, but there's no way you would have known because it has like the featuring members of and all the bands. And I wish you would have put Catacresis, which is my old band, and Cody Clem's old band. I'm pretty sure he's playing in the thing too.
I wish I would have known.
But you didn't. It's okay. That was 7 years ago at this point.
Shit.
But yeah, which it would have been hilarious because everyone would have been like, "Who the fuck's Catacresis?" But only a couple people had been like,
yeah.
Really? They played like 2 shows. Yeah, another band, I think it's Mind Blizzard, has Nick Maxon of Weed Bee, Brews with Dudes, The Doom Room.
Boner Jovi.
Boner. No, he's not in Boner Jovi.
No?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, yeah. What am I talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking about? He's just one of their roadies.
He's just a guy. He just does things.
Is that all we got?
I don't have shit today? Else.
We're running on 3 hours, 40 minutes, guys.
Is this an episode record for y'all?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yay. I believe so. Probably won't be happening too much. Matt had to stand up.
My ass fell asleep in that.
Oh, my head hurts like hell. I'm going to have to get some ibuprofen in my dome.
I got a wedgie, too.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Hope it's a winner. Hope you pick a winner.
Well.
Oh, this is that time where the thing happens.
The thing, yeah.
The thing.
Nate, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks.
It's so great to finally have you in our own official
space.
Yeah.
Gravy Studios.
I have never been in.
What'd you go for?
Dick Gravy Studios.
Dick Gravy Studios.
Man, I hate Dick Gravy. That's such a
I love
gross.
it.
You just
I
talked about,
just envision ejaculating penises when I hear that name.
You just talked about puking a whole biscuit for like 10 minutes.
When I came
You're
up
right.
with the name Dick Gravy, like I wasn't even thinking of that. It just
Had
I was
nothing
just
to do with it.
It
Like
was
a
literally
dick-
combining my name with my gamer tag.
Like a dick covered in gravy.
Oh.
And I'm like, and people start pointing out, I'm like, oh yeah.
Like white country gravy.
And then he still chose to pursue it. He's like, Dick Gravy is
It's
still
good.
a great
It's
idea.
funny.
It's
It's
heritage.
it's unique.
Not, oh, it is heritage.
It's unique.
All right.
Sometimes you just gotta stick with something.
Yeah.
Sometimes it do be
Brand
like
it.
that.
Heritage Studios. I like that one too. I like
You should
that one
come up
too.
with an official name and let me know.
We'll figure it out.
Cool.
Yeah, but welcome to the official place.
Thanks.
That's Podcastrophe.
Thank you for letting me officially bless this pod and this feed and this space with my presence.
And my
officially.
dick.
And my dick.
That's
It's been a fun episode. It's been a long episode.
Yeah, my
But it's
brain
a good
hole
one.
hurts.
It is a good one. We had some serious discussion that actually got to go at length for a lot of
And
it.
I only yelled one time.
It was a good yell, though.
It
well
was
timed. It was
You-
like the
you
best.
you really got it out, man.
Man, you know what I was going to use as a topic, but we can't get into it today because I think it would just spawn another 2-hour conversation. Is the great question that's been going around? If you could add one fuck to any PG-13 movie, what would it be? And genuinely think about it.
I loved that
Like,
meme.
I get the Anakin one; it's cool. Like, fuck you, Anakin. Like, yeah, I get that.
Fuck you, Anakin. I have the high ground.
Man, I don't
Master
know.
of the low ground. We established this last episode.
It was a taunt.
I think it would have been funny
was a
to
whole
hear.
ploy.
I think it would have been funny to hear Bill Murray at the top of that tower in the first Ghostbusters see the Marshmallow Man and go, "Oh fuck!" Just in utter shock. It would have just set the tone for like I don't know.
I want to put Bill Murray as Baloo in Jungle Book saying fuck.
But was that movie PG-13?
I think so.
It
Get
was.
that fucking honey, boy. Scamper up there and grab me that fucking honey, boy.
Boy.
R.I.P. Arthur Morgan / Kratos, because your games are complete for me.
I can't wait for the next one.
Word.
Which one?
God of War.
I was gonna say both, but
Both of them.
both of them. I'm done, Blaine.
Yeah.
I say we close.
Let's do this. Let's
We've
do
been
this.
here for 4 fucking hours.
Everybody, thank you. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Matt. Nate.
Thank
Pod Daddy Nate.
more than anybody.
Yeah,
Pod Daddy
I don't
Nate.
do anything but yell and talk. I still have the floor, by the way.
For those, if you words.
You got it.
Check us out every Tuesday live on Facebook, right around 5:30 or 6. If you don't do that,
If you don't like to do that,
check us out in audio form where you can hear the heritage. You can hear the yelling on Podbean and iTunes. Just look up Podcastrophe pod.podbean.com.
I looked up Podcastrophe on iTunes today, and it pulled us up.
What?
It did.
Really? I thought you had to look up Podcastrophe Pod on iTunes.
Nope. I literally-
Well, guys, you can do it now. If you have an iPhone, iTunes, an Apple computer, anything with iTunes, hit us up.
And if it doesn't work, type in pod after.
I feel like by default, then you're on a lot of other services now too, because Google Play is pulled direct from the iTunes. I'm pretty sure. I think they're self-integrated or something.
Interesting.
So you might want to look into that.
I might.
Honestly. Also, you can check out Podcastrophe on the Journey into Comics
Yeah.
Network at journeyintocomics.com every Thursday in tandem with you guys on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, and Spotify.
And if you haven't, if you're on the Journey into Comics Network feed,
Go
and
subscribe to them.
yeah, go subscribe to us,
Yeah,
and you get the extra content.
They got to not get those rookie numbers anymore. We got to level them up to vet numbers.
You get extra
I did
shows.
a 20-minute live stream.
Yeah, you know what? I watched part of that. when you were
Angrily
driving.
yelling at somebody that was in parallel to a semi, not driving any faster than them. That was the part that I watched. You're
God,
like,
it made me
you're
mad.
like, go! This guy's such a dick.
Oh, that's my life.
Continue
damn.
plugging, Nate.
Oh, no, there's no other plugs,
No,
man.
you got all the shows.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the show's
All the shows there.
You want to see me do it, don't you?
Yeah, I
Okay,
wanna
in
see
real
it.
Time.
Let's watch
so,
this.
Sometimes
If you
it'd
check
be
out
like
the Journey into Comics network, you get Journey into Comics, Poor News, Poor Entertainment, Foodies Watching Movies, Adulting Ain't Easy, which is having their season finale this week. You get Journey into Wrestling, Podcastrophe, Kids for Sale, Gallifredio, The Voice of Survival, Brews with Dudes, and the Best of the Week, as well as 2 new shows coming in 2019 that we have not yet spoiled. Well, one of them is kind of spoiled, but I'm not spoiling it yet because it's special. But that's all I have. That's it. That's all I've got. I guess we have to do the thing that you guys do all the time.
Is it time?
I think it's time. Is it time for you? Are you timing it? Time? Are we going to time?
I'm time.
Dude, I've been timed for about the last hour and a half.
Time. All right.
Well, sorry to inconvenience you, Matt.
Damn.
It's okay.
Guys,
You're Matt.
guys, I'm Dick.
I'm
He's
Nate.
Matt.
He's Matt.
I am Matt.
Matt Wilcox.
Matt Wilcox.
Matt Damon.
Nope, Matt Wilcox.
I'm Matt Damon.
No, you're not. Don't lie.
Don't tell me my life.
All right, guys, make every day.
A big dick day.
Bye, guys.
Heritage.